score in that type of circumstance, but ultimately it is Cold and Rapid as the primary representatives for Twisted Minds.
Hey, they qualified first, they deserve it. Acorn is doing the rightful thing of hiding away from Cold and Rapid. And look at this, no mercy as they say, hey, Bolts, did you just land? Here, hold this shotgun shot, take that, and another one put down there. That's 3 points now. Cole's starting to really heat up here. 3 points for elimination, mind you.
Yeah, and by the looks of things, Cold and Rapid, they're not fully done just yet with enjoying this reboot cycle farm that has sort of just been taking place for Bolt. And it's crazy to think that a competitor or fragger as strong as Bolt is currently in this position. He's narrowly managing to just try and touch down and doesn't even get the chance. Khan even going to take him out from a separate direction entirely. And that's just part of the problems that are sort of brought in. And it looks like Bolt isn't going to be the only one suffering, but Salco, he's out, and that's only 21 HP and dropping, fighting inside of the storm, no whites to his name. He's going to be forced to just engage and recover a little bit of siphon, or at least buy time. Of course, not going to come back.
Take a look at this. It's Oatly and Spooks now who are on the offense here, having that team with backs against the wall, and then Cold and Rapid fighting for the airdrop. It's Havoc versus Twisted Minds right now. Talk about a clash. Swizzy's Pixie on the other side. You have Cold and Rapid. You know, we had questions about this duo not playing all together throughout the year. You know, they ended up splitting up after that first qualifier. However, they are looking like they never left one another's side. Sometimes breaks apart do work out pretty well.
Honeymoon phase for a reason, and for Rapid and Cold, maybe this could be the recovery stage, at least when it comes to the reload competition. And, well, with the way that Cold is getting active, he might, well, I was gonna say he might need to, check his back, but it's going to be Pixie, a little replay instance to see what went wrong for Swizzy and Pixie earlier. He even put Swizzy in that solo position, but hey, at least until it makes towards the 7th zone, players will still have those reboot opportunities, so it's just tough finding that opportunity to really get some breathing room.
Yeah, luckily for T1's Demus and Darm, they're looking just fine. No points earned just yet here on the tournament as we are just getting things started. AGAL's Sky and Scroll, what have they managed to do so far? Nothing. Keeping quiet here, kind of on the edge of the zone. It now starting to look to pull a bit further, but things are going to begin hitting up very shortly. Once we start getting closer to that zone 7, you're going to hear the countdown, right? Then reloads will turn off. No one will be able to fly back into the game.
But that's what makes Sky and Scroll so scary, is if you're not seeing anything out of Sky and Scroll, then you know that they're just scheming. They love to create so many openings for themselves. They're so smart about how they handle their rotations, and they're always just putting themselves in top-tier positions to secure really strong endgame placements. And not only that, but even as individuals, how many times have you seen Sky or Scroll just clutch up so many consistent points? And when you have a duo that is just kind of lethal on all fronts, it is very difficult to contend with, especially when you're dealing with the likes of other aggressive fronts in the lobby, like Cold and Rapid, who have certainly been making their names known with 4 eliminations already.
Live from Paris, take a look at that camera right there. I recognize those two faces, but it's all good. We still got Twisted Minds, Cold and Rapid here. 4 eliminations are elim leaders at the moment here in match number 1. They're off to a very hot start. Oatly! Oatly! Might have a Brazil versus Europe showdown here with Havoc's Pixie and Swizzy. Also had 2 elims, still inside the zone, mind you. They're gonna have to get going here soon. Things might get a little dangerous.
Not too much of a surprise, though, that Pixie and Swizzy have fallen back to playing a little bit slower here. Have to put a pause to things after that earlier scuffle. Pixie having to go through the reset territory, and then obviously going at night, very similar position. So whether or not these two teams actually decide to try and take a chunk out of the other, still left to be determined. But for right now, it seems like Pixie and Swizzy are fully focused on just trying to reorient themselves and get into a more natural position where they can better play an aggressive endgame.
That's right. Salvatore, Yasin already on the move here, using the crash pass and want to get a quick rotate around the outskirts, looking to save those very prestigious shockwaves. They actually get away with this completely free, even though there's teams close on their heels. The timing could have been better here. Meanwhile, Coyote, Yoma, of course, for representing Club Zeta. Gotta love this duo here. Beloved out of the Japan-Asia region. You know, we had that interview with Coyote, and the first thing we said is, hey, you do know the West, we call you guys the Peter Pot of Asia. How does that make you feel? He said it's pressure, to be honest, as the translator helped kind of get his thoughts across. And that was really awesome. He said it's a lot of pressure just being looked at as that well. So I feel like I have to perform well for my region.
But he also commands a lot of respect, even on an international scale.
He deserves it.
There are so many players here that are recognizing his capabilities and just what they're going to be able to potentially put up numbers as a team. But this is what I'm really excited for at Monster, is seeing who's actually going to try and prioritize controlling height. Demish Darm getting a little tagged up on their entrance. Bit of a, call it a deposit from the rest of the lobby, but Demish Darm, man, they've drawn way more attention than what they had bargained for, and they're going to have to drop all the way down this hill face, trying to get a little bit of natural coverage, trying to really just escape being the focal point of the lobby right now.
You know what? And the idea was to actually hide behind those trees. They thought they were being smart, but the team said, no, no, no. We see what you're trying to do there. You're not going to break line of sight onto us. And the focus comes in from everyone in the lobby. That timer there, though, bang, no more reloads. So you cannot afford to go down now. Otherwise, you will be stuck in the lobby until the next round.
I do think it's hilarious, though, that it was Sky and Scroll that were shooting at Darm and Demish, because remember how Sky and Scroll were setting up earlier on. They were shooting out those trees, trying to provide themselves those kind of opportunities, and other duos just might not be suspecting it. Clearly, it wasn't in Darm and Demish's game plan, but hey, things can change on a dime here. There's now an Axe, Salco, trying to get a little bit of pressure against other teams that are looking to try and break in towards where they're at. But rotations can be very risky. Swizzy and Pixie sort of avoiding the bulk of the focus right now, but still keeping tabs on a duo that they know is behind them.
Yeah, definitely. 3 eliminations right now. Looking pretty good. Here comes the end game. Full moving zones are in effect. Pixie, Swizzy opting to play that mid-ground, looking up towards the top. Jojo and Aoxy here looking to do the same. Meanwhile, a little scrappy fight on the outer edge with Bolts there. We'll get caught up as the rotate goes through. Coyote finds 1-2. Sky already down for AGAL. Scroll here. And they haven't earned a single point. All that effort, all that work. And look, his hands are in the air. Yes, something went definitely wrong.
That's the problem. Sometimes it can be so unforgiving which way the lobby tends to pool, and well, or at least right now, Scroll's gonna have to put on a bit of a masterclass if they want to build up any sort of placement points, because this endgame is just so stacked. We have so oftentimes seen placement points not really get to factor in until right around that 10th movie zone, and it's just so problematic too when you've got a duo like Elites holding down the high ground.
How have we not had a full duo get eliminated just yet? We are so due at this point. Iamzo and Josh playing for the high ground, the first team to just get a little glimpse, a little taste of what it's like. Swizzy, Pixie on the other side, still fighting their way through, trying to dominate, but no one's earned any big endgame eliminations just yet. But that's going to change here shortly. Crash Pads are starting to come out. Big rotates here. Where are they going to land? Pixie going for high ground, so the call has been made.
And it's the right direction ahead. Now they're going to have some leverage over the rest of this lobby. Taking some shots over towards Yasu. Won't get anything just yet for it, but Salvatore also a little bit pieced up. They're all just trying to skirt by, preserving as much HP as they can find, but Swizzy and Pixie are just not letting up, and it's just so difficult to evade their line of sight when they are just so high up in comparison to everybody else. Most of these duos opting to drop a little bit lower, committing towards this ultimate low ground too. Could be the end of things, but for Acorn and Bolts, who actually have that launch pad to work with, it's all about timing now.
And they do the right thing. They go to the ultimate low ground, recognize that they just got to stay alive. Kanata gets knocked and finished in the feed by Cold and Rapid there. Their 5th elimination coming through. That means Victor V is by himself now. Cold and Rapid front side of zone. They actually get the favorable pull. Meanwhile, Swizzy and Pixie controlling things from up top. Finally, eliminations are starting to connect for them, and the pressure is coming through as well. They're holding it the right way here.
Still, Pixie down to his last overdrive grenade, so unless Swizzy's rocking with a little bit more mobility, things could start to get a little bit tough here. For those who on the high ground, Scroll still making it happen as a solo, doing his best to try and preserve a little bit of his section, but caught for a moment. Probably going to sorely miss that overdrive. Every single resource is just so much more crucial when you are playing as an individual here, and especially trying to avoid the team on height. Swizzy immediately taking out Faded. Don't even think about coming near this high ground.
And don't come to the low ground either, Oatly. It's now time for Cold and Rapid to put on the show. Scroll is having the most impressive performance for AGAL. The amount of championship points, the club points he is earning right here is impressive as he is solo surviving here. And also, no Elans just yet here, Taco.
Down but not out. That's kind of Scroll's calling card. He's going up as a solo. He's ready to challenge it. Swizzy may be fortunate that that shot didn't get to connect just yet, but Scroll still doing a great job at concealing his position out of sight, out of mind from the rest of the lobby. A little bit of fizz to work with too, but Acorn now also left to contend as a solo, but it's going to be Rapid and Cold who ultimately commit to height and take it over.
The old man's mountain will get his toll. Here it is, that indestructible vertical climb is too difficult for many duels. They're getting put in the blender. Another team ends up shocking wave up. It's Vazen and Anon, but he falls right back down. The Cypher team keeping in the game for now. Meanwhile, Scroll still alive. A top 10, a top 9, and still going here.
This is disgusting out of Scroll as a solo. Pixie on the same foot though, taking out Demish, holding on by a sliver here for Havoc, just barely making it into the zone. How does he manage to stay standing? The same question could be asked for Scroll, but now both of these players hoping somebody else looks elsewhere. It won't be the case though for Pixie. Scroll now dropping, forced to try and contend with anybody on low. Might even be a body for him to steal a little bit of loot off of, but now Cold and Rapid. This one is looking all twisted minds.
He's still down there. He's still fighting. Anon's in the game here, trying to look for anything possible, but I haven't seen Scroll fall just yet. Give it a little second though. Anon here, moving, mixing through the builds here. Yamzo's down. Scroll fighting for his life down. He finally goes to the hands of Khan. That's going to be 4 eliminations for this duo here. Now, just trying to get a little reset. Still has plenty to work with in his own. Actually bounces back. Cold and Rapid have to come down. They are starting to slowly run out of material, but it depends where this is all going to go. Sky jumps. Mopsy gets a pop from the crowd. France is still in this one.
Absolutely nobody realized what Skydive and Momsy were sneaking their way up towards the high ground, but it's BotCon. A little bit more time to work with. Cold and Rapid, a little bit more fixated on trying to contend with these other teams, but at the same time, they recognize we've got to at least take care of the solo directly with this. We need the material that Khan can provide, but Khan is just doing so much damage as a solo, and the double whammy pressure is too much to handle. Rapid is down, Khan has fallen, Momsy and Skyjump are ready to collect. France wants to strike big on this first game and really make themselves known, and Cold, even with they, won't be able to stand tall. Skyjump and Momsy with the victory royale.
Skyjump and Momsy represent for their home here on land. What a performance for the duo. And then they get to just soak it all in. It doesn't get better than that from them. Even Cold and Rapid seem to be in healthy spirits there. What a fun game one, and a competitive one at that.
Yeah, and nothing for Cold to really be too pressed over. 8 eliminations by himself, another 2 from Rapid. So you know that they were able to definitely build up a very hefty lead over the rest of this lobby. But it is only game 1 of 10, and obviously Skyjump and Momsy, they're just going to be looking to try and replicate the success that they were able to capture in game 1.
I just feel like the French community, they've already won. They've already won here on the day. They've done enough. I'm happy. I think the crowd's happy. Clearly the celebrations there were felt, and that was such a fun first match. You're looking at the emotion on some of these players. Some people feel like maybe they didn't do enough, and then others obviously are celebrating, kicking back like Skyjump and Mumsy there. Let's take a look at the highlights though. From Mumsy's perspective, boom, gets the elimination. There's the siphon points. Skyjump, of course, comes through. He's gonna get that final shot, and then we get to the free.
25 en retard, mais ils vont récupérer, je pense. Non. C'est pas sur le fight. Ah non, non, 50, 50. Allez, ça avance, je décale sur le côté. Je fais les kills. J'ai le kill, je vois. Wesh, tu viens? Ah, je suis mort pas. Je suis mort, peut-être. Non. Quelqu'un? Tu. Chill. Il va open. Nice! Bravo! Let's go!
I almost wish that I could have had a live feed of comms too from Revenja and some of the other French commentators, because I know he was going crazy watching his boys put in work. But obviously Skyjump and Mumsy, they earned every bit of that win.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I didn't expect it to happen so soon, but that is the nature of the beast. Sometimes, you know, when you just got that hometown buff, as they say, so clearly they're showing up. The crowd seem to love it as well. I love the way they're facing their audience as well, too, so they get to see kind of the reaction from that side of the audience. It's really awesome.
It can for sure make a pretty big mental impact, of course, but I'm also thinking about it from just the overall landscape of what we just watched take place. But obviously, we'll get into working our way through some of that and a little bit more action here to come. So go ahead, grab a drink, come right back, because we'll see you guys shortly.
Play is in our DNA. Whenever we let it out, it becomes our superpower. Now imagine an entire city being built to supercharge it. Kadir City, powered by Play.
He can come in here and play my game. Let's go. He knows nothing. Let's go!
Tyler 1, you're done.
Raw energy. Blow the house down.
I have 0 shocks, by the way. You have to go back.
Yeah, I will.
I have 3 builds. How many do you have?
3.
Okay. Here, come. We're gonna pickaxe in. Follow me. Drop down. Left side. In here. Look.
Yep.
Look. Behind.
Yeah.
Spray. Take. Show. Yeah. Here, come around, all the way down.
Yeah.
On this wood. 100? Yeah, I'm playing myself. Yeah. Sit in a cone if you can. Hey, come on, bro!
There's one right here.
Wait, no, we should get in. Should we get in? Or? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're right.
Here. I'm gonna shock us first. Ready? Shocking. Is. I'm gonna throw. I hit the cone and I'm gonna throw.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Wait. Second.
Yeah. How much fire? Look at 3 below. 3 below. Okay.
Heal. Let me
go. Low down 3.
Pickaxe, double pickaxe.
Okay.
Holding.
Good comms that we get a chance to hear from Group A yesterday, but today is Group B. And by the way, for everybody currently watching, if you are a content creator, don't forget to sign up to the Esports Foundation Creator Program. That way you can share everything that's going on here with EWC with your community. You can earn some rewards and win some awesome stuff. That trip for 2, I'm still keeping an eye on it. Scan that QR code and join the Esports Foundation Creator Program. I'm joined by none other than Vivid Kelly. Thanks for joining us this time. And Levin, we got a chance to talk about these players that just ended up winning, Skyjump and Mumsy.
Look, I thought I was maybe doing a bit too much, you know, trying to farm some of the French love, the French fans, as you do, especially we're in Paris.
You got it.
But they did what I said that they can do. They have that ability to come through in these games and just have these big pop-off games. Shout out to Skyjump, right, in particular. Skyjump now has qualified for all the major lands this year in Fortnite. without playing with the same teammate. He's playing with someone different every single time.
What?
It doesn't matter. He's rocked up with Mumsy here in Paris, and they look like a team that's been playing all year long.
They played that end game so well. There was a lot of contention on that high ground, and not just the high ground that was the issue, but the elevation of the map that caused so many issues. Yesterday when we saw high ground, there really wasn't too much trading, unlike what we saw from game number 1 today. So I think that kind of gave some of these teams that didn't necessarily have as strong of a high ground plan, like Skyjump and Momsy, to be able to kind of take advantage of all the chaos that was going on.
Yeah, obviously when you kind of talk about the terrain that we were looking at in this end game, I thought Cold and Rapid had this one kind of locked down without a doubt, but you blink and all of a sudden they actually went ahead and lost the high ground. So great little nod over to Skyjump and Momsy for finding the timing there. And as we do see Scroll go down there toward the later stages of the end game as well, it would be absolutely criminal for us, Seven, to not mention his solo clutch there. I mean, Sky went down, unfortunately, a very long while ago. I think it was actually like almost the first player eliminated from the lobby.
It was Zone 7.
Yeah, it was so long ago. Still alive, kind of picked up some points for the team there. They got to be feeling pretty good about that one.
They're definitely going to be feeling good, especially because of what you were mentioning, that duel getting eliminated within the first 2 players. I don't remember if it was the first player or not. It was definitely within the first 2 players. Another squad that I want to bring up because they ended up getting a top 3 favorite was SAUL. This is a squad that's also in contention for the club championship. They might not be in contention for that title, but they're definitely in contention for that money. That squad was able to secure a 3rd place.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it was super, super cool to see the positioning that was actually being able to picked up by Khan himself, because we were kind of talking about the natural terrain that we were kind of seeing. He just had this box set up towards the top of that cliff that all of these players actually had to go ahead and traverse. And because they had that little box that was kind of opened up into the storm where he kind of expected all of these players to be rotating in from the kind of help of that natural terrain, he found so many elims on the back foot of that.
Honestly, Con and Faded really impressed me, and I know as far as EU teams go, they're kind of more of a newer team. Fred coming out of Germany right now, and they're really starting to impress everyone. So, Levin, I'd love to hear from you. Is this something that you kind of expected out of this duo?
I think that the talent is there, the ability is there, but if I'm going to be real with you guys, I just like these guys because when SAUL did their announcement video, it was just the best announcement video for any team in Fortnite I've ever seen ever. So go check that out if you haven't. They did like a full movie, like it was insane, like genuinely one of the most entertaining things. And it's good to see that their actual duo is bringing some entertainment to the lobby as well.
Earlier too, we were talking about T1, the Polish duo Kelly. This squad was able to actually secure themselves a good amount of points for them. And the conversation earlier that we were having for this duo, it was none other than Demas and Darm. For them being able to actually make it to the top 7, it was actually not a bad start from this squad, Vivid.
Yeah, I mean, they are sitting in 8th place right now, right? 33 points. So probably not the game that they specifically wanted to happen. But I think this is going to be kind of the territory that we typically are going to see from the T1 team, kind of sitting around this little bit of a bubble, right? Maybe hugging around that 7th to 10th place. It's just going to be all about staying consistent and having one of those good games to actually push them into that top 7, in my opinion.
No, I think that's fair. I think that's been the level we've seen from them for the most part. I think what might give people a bit more hope is when it comes to just ceilings for teams. Like, if everybody's playing at their absolute best, what could you expect to see from that team? Their ceiling is just so high. So hopefully we just get a sneak peek of that today.
Now, Seven, I'm surprised that you don't want to talk about our team in 5th place, because not only is their org 7, but their name is also 7. And to see some of our smaller regions representing this early on in the top 7, well, that's got to feel pretty good.
It does got to feel good. I'm not associated in any way, shape, or form, but I am waiting to actually meet 7 so we can do the Spider-Man meme and be like, wait a second. It's the same person. But talking about back to this first game, anything that surprised you, Levin, for the first game?
You know what? It wasn't a surprise. It was actually something. If you allow me to put my analysis hat on here.
Put that on.
You know, the developers involved in building this reload map, they must love a mountain zone finish. I mean, the elevation in Elite Stronghold is something that we talked about a lot when the map initially came out, but we have seen it so much. It feels like so many of these endgames, you end up in situations like you almost mentioned earlier, Vivid, where it's like cold and rapid. You have a team up on height. You think it's going to be an easy game for them because of the way the zones are pulling up a clip, up a hill. it's just constant on this map.
And it would be a little bit less egregious if it was a hill, but they're like plateaus. There isn't just this gradual incline. It becomes this stark wall that players take advantage of. They identify that that's where the zone is rotating, and that's when they do early rotations. And that's actually what we saw from Cold and Rapid. They did some early rotations there. Same thing with Josh and Iamzo.
So, of course, being here in person, we get the opportunity to talk to some of the players. Yesterday, I myself had the opportunity to go ahead and talk with Muzz, talk with Sphinx, talk with Virgo. Of course, they were having dinner, so I didn't bother them for too long. But one of the things that I picked up on was that they just had to take a couple of games to get used to these setups, right? So we've gone through, game number 1 here for group number B. Give your favorite teams at home just a couple of games to actually get warmed up to these specific setups. And I gotta imagine then they will start to feel comfortable.
Yeah, let's see how comfortable these players are going to be getting. These duos are going to be performing because they have 9 matches. Yesterday kind of went by in a way too quick way. In a split second, it was just all over. But let's send it over to the casters, none other than MBF and Taco for game number 2.
Thank you so very much. That's right. We have had a little time now to digest things coming out of game number 1. Clearly, when you start looking at how that overall performance went, it looks like it's going to be taken by Cold and Rapid for Twisted Minds, as they had the most eliminations.
And they've got to be feeling really good about it. I mean, it's a big part of the reason why we saw Cold cheesing so hard in that player cam. Even after the match concluded, they'd come second. And it's just knowing that they can deliver such huge elimination points, that is really going to be a difficult point of contention for other teams, because sure, you always want to look for consistency in terms of placement points. I mean, think about what Skrull was able to accomplish as an individual, the amount of solo placement points he was able to accrue from so early on. You would think that things would have gone completely south for a duo like AGAL, and with so much on the line here for the club championship points, it puts so much more pressure, and yet he's still able to deliver.
Yeah, you wouldn't have thought they'd push that far. They end in 9th with a 7th place performance, all on the backs of one player. Is so impressive. We actually can't emphasize that enough. There were duos that were alive that were taken out before Skrull could be found. So rotations were clearly exceptional, and he definitely made it very, very far. Victor V, Kanata, as we didn't see their early journey, but clearly they made it kind of towards that end game there, dropping in 14th place, so not too bad. We'll have to see a lot more from them if they want to be higher on the standings, but coming into this game, let's set some early expectations. So now you have like this clear breakaway starting to take form. So Seven, Axa, Vazen, Anon, Swizzy, and Pixie are currently holding that line for the bottom folks of the 7.
And when you look who's directly behind Swizzy and Pixie, that's going to be T1's Demish and Darm.
Yeah.
And obviously, I think there is ample opportunity still for these duos to really play catch-up, especially when you have 9 other matches to sort of break through. So especially for some of our veteran players who are a little bit more familiarized to kind of the longevity that's involved in tournament series, that's where I think these first 5 matches, you can be a bit more experimental. I mean, just think about what happened in Group A. The first 5 games didn't go that great for a lot of teams, and yet they were still able to make a recovery stage and really bounce back in that second tier.
That's right. Even for our reigning champions, Acorn, Bolts, our North American champions, they had a pretty tough time. That map is notorious for being very difficult to traverse. You heard Levin say it there best. There's a reason the pros kind of look at it and have evaluated.
Today is Group B, and by the way, for everybody currently win some rewards and win some odds. Foundation creator.
The first to fall. Jojo Fishy is right behind him as it all goes down here. Salvatore as well. So Victor got knocked, but Jojo gets finished first actually there. And you see that the strategies are changing. Teams are playing a little bit faster as they try to secure points.
Looks like a little bit of trouble on the horizon too for Rapid. He's going to be brought down, trying to be a little bit of an agent of chaos here. And Iamzo, very similar fashion, already has 1 elimination too, but Elite Armory, no real surprise to see so many teams kind of collecting in that vicinity. Yesterday's competition, Muzz and Sphinx, that was something they were contending with pretty regularly. And so now here today, everybody in Group B really trying to figure out what is going to work out best for them. And you get those game 1 jitters out of the way, but when everyone else is also trying to make very similar kind of adaptations on the fly, it does get a little bit more unpredictable.
Well, looks like we already got our first duo eliminated. On the other side, Panzer is putting up quite the fight. This is a really bad scenario for Iamzo and Josh to be in. Iamzo knows that he got to reboot himself so he can start the timer. Panzer's got basically 10 seconds to finish this elimination here. It's all going to come down to Josh, and he clutches up for Elite Esports to stay in the game, and GK falls.
Can't really think of a better time to hold your nerves than what Josh was able to deliver on a performance,
That was
man.
it.
That is a tough break, though, for Panzer, because it would have been such a great opportunity to just get a quick top-tier competitor duo out of the lobby, but not going to be able to snipe them out that easily, as now Havoc, Pixie, and Swizzy on the move. Pixie even rocking that RPG. Swizzy also looking to give a little bit of hot pursuit towards Knight, and Porygon and Knight, man, they seem like they've really been getting isolated from start to finish so far.
Garmin Demish looked like they just took down Sky Jump there. Didn't see Momsy, so they still have a chance to, of course, get rebooted back in. Victor V is getting farmed right now. I've seen him fall a few times in defeat, unfortunately. Meanwhile, Cold is getting a couple onto Gon there. You saw Knight go down. Now we're seeing Gon go down shortly behind them. There is just no breaks for the Wicked. These guys are having a pretty tough time right now. Cold and Rapid are just dominating their side of the field. Knight falls again. Oof.
They are just barely surviving. Like, the second that the reboot timer concludes and the other one is coming back into the lobby, it seems like the other is immediately being eliminated. They're just not having any sort of wiggle room, but that's just how merciless the lobby can be. Swizzy, Pixie, obviously going to be looking to try and take advantage of that, but Mumsy, Skyjump, there are no rollovers. This was their recovery. They're going to get a nice little collapse onto Anon, and that is going to buy them some more time.
Yeah, definitely. And now they have those exotic upgrades, legendary burst rifle here as well. So loadouts starting to come together. Things are shaping up well for Momsy and Skyjump. They needed that Elim because remember, Skyjump just loaded back in. And that is definitely the difference maker. You know, being able to get with your duo, kind of play defensively, bounce back into the tournament. Here's how it looked. It was Mumsy who put up the huge shot there, coming to the rescue, if you will, of his teammate. And then the follow-up. So that's a full duo eliminated, mind you. Back on over to Havoc with Swizzy and Pixie here. Look at this. They're doing such a good job for their club here, earning points consistently, game after game. They get another one there, too. That's another set of eliminations. They're trying to full finish this SAUL team here. Bad.
A little bit of a tough break there for Swizzy, but it's one that Con and Faded aren't going to be too upset over. In fact, they've got to be so relieved right now that Swizzy wasn't able to get over that railing. Be forced to kind of give up that pursuit. Really like the way that they were splitting the focus there, though. It had Con and Faded incapable of reuniting to try and support the other, so getting into those isolated positions, that's just something that Swizzy and Pixie sort of excelled to do as a duo because they are such strong individual fighters too.
Take a look at this. Kanata is way off by himself. That's why we're seeing Victor have such a tough time get settled in this game. But it's up to Kanata to kind of stay alive here at this point so they can actually see the end game. Meanwhile, take a look at this shot here. We have Bolts and Acorn right now, setting things up. Sky and Stroll as well. Little update for them. Again, surprisingly slow game. 0 eliminations. That's not really heard of for European favorites.
Well, you would think as much, but it's Sky and Scroll. That was actually their calling card, especially throughout the course of FNCS and even a lot of their Reload Elite Series finals. I think most of it just ultimately draws down to the fact that they understand we want to play Storm until right around that 5th, 6th zone territory. That's when we're going to start to make our move, make our presence, and really start to shape how this low ground position is going to unfold. Because, again, just think about that last lobby. Even as an individual, Scroll was still able to contend very heftily on that low ground position. And so it's very clear that they have a strong understanding of that, but they've also made it known in the past that they are capable of playing for the high ground. It's just these first couple of matches, you almost expect things to just kind of constantly be shuffled around when it comes to height because everyone is looking to really stamp their mark as king of the high ground.
Yeah, you definitely have to. Getting a touch base here with GK's Panzer and Jacko right now. Nice little start for them. A single elimination here. It's not too bad. They're still at the hostile hold, though. Duos kind of floating in the area. You have Salco and Act on the other side here. Trying to see what's going on. AXA and 7 as well. Just playing the Storm. They actually have a little bit of a drop here, potentially. Now, both teams do have a couple elims, so this is not no 0-point game by any means, but Salco and Act are definitely at the bottom of the standings. Now we jump back in with this friendly rivalry here going down for Twisted Minds.
Twisted Minds might need to get in the middle of this between these two teams. It's got to be a tough watch. Rapid, Cold, Acorn, Bolts just seem like they can't get away from each other. Although a good chunk of this action probably is fairly intended. We know just how much both of these teams like to get aggressive, specifically Cold and Rapid.
Yeah, that's what happens when you play general areas nearby one another. It's just inevitable. In this zone, man, big southern pull here. A lot of teams still playing outside, inside the Storm. Darm and Demish are one of those duos there as well as they slowly start to traverse their way down outside the Chisel Cubes here. And there it is, the big update. So this is when teams start to really hustle their way towards a safe zone. The Storm after this is going to start picking up in damage and then of course will cut off, so you got to get situated.
And that's something that Demish and Darm are certainly looking to set up for, like you'd already called out. With no one in sight either, they'll be able to utilize the launch pad, just get a little bit of airspace, airtime, and really gauge how exactly they want to touch down into their next position. Obviously, it'd be nice to sort of clear out a little hill face, but never know who's going to be lurking around which corner. A lot of little crevices on this map that can definitely be taken advantage of. And for a duo like Josh and Yamzo, those early fights definitely helping shape their endgame strategies at the moment.
I mean, just all those elimination points alone, right, kind of jumps them up to third place here. So this is a very strong game for them. Just in general, 12 points earned off of elims. Meanwhile, Kanata and Victor V making their way south as well. Nice little update for them. You see the focus here on the duo, completely capped on material, but they are part of this late wave of teams moving. There are a lot of duos nearby, shots going off as well. Panzer gets going there in the distance. Kanata, Victor hear the action and they go sprinting through the builds. They're like, no, 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 we don't want to be fighting here on the backside of Storm. Let's get out of here.
Nice little upgrade there for Kanata, though. Won't be too pressed over that, but it is a bit of paranoia, right? That it sort of has to kind of be embraced by these players as they make their way through the Storm, especially knowing that there are going to be so many other teams trying to just get any semblance of peace. But Mumsy and Skyjump, they are all too eager to take advantage of the weaknesses from Gon and Knight. Unfortunately, Gon and Knight still yet to escape these earlier woes. They've been chased across the map from start to finish for 2 lobbies in a row now, and this is just brutal to witness.
They're just riding the momentum right now. 5 eliminations, continuing to widen that gap between them and everyone else, and then the pop from the crowd whenever they, of course, get elims here on the broadcast. You love to see it. Meanwhile, you got Rapid and Cold already getting situated. Once again, Bolts and Acorn closed up pretty closely by Demis and Darm, not too far out either. So it is going to be a Chiseled Cubes endgame here as the zone finally begins to settle itself. All the heavy hitters kind of opting here to play that little bit of height like we talked about. There's all these hills and crevices, but you want that bit of high ground. Otherwise, you'll be kind of trapped down low. The overall rankings looking really good here. Yuma and Coyote somehow fighting their way consistently towards the top. Things are starting to connect for them, but Bolts and Acorn finally now getting elims here. That one's onto Japco. Luckily, reloads are still active for a couple more moments.
A little bit of a blessing in disguise, maybe, but at the same time, was Bolts and Acorn really doing them any favors, sending them into that reboot cycle? Bolts and Acorn also, one thing I like about where they chose to position, they're right in the middle of this little ravine, right? They know that the two teams on the actual hills themselves are likely going to be contending with the other, so it can be hard for them to get those open edits and actually take shots at the team underneath. So that's why Acorn Bolts just had the luxury of fully extending into that fight against Yakko and Panzer the moment that they tried to actually break into the zone.
Well, here we have it, 20 seconds now until the reboots completely come to a close, and then no one will be able to get back in the game. They'll be sent to the lobby instead to kind of await their fate there. Sky and Scroll as a duo here, looking as healthy as ever, but still no points earned here for AGAL. Only points they've earned this week are by Scroll's clutch endgame with placement performances. See how they can do. This is a very gutsy rotate through the middle of these duos here, but they thread the needle well, they get to safety, and no one sees them doing it.
And what's more impressive still, they're able to just continue clearing out space. Eoxy and Jojo Fishy having a little bit of reconsideration for where they were just headed. Sky Scroll, just a little friendly reminder that this direction not exactly up for grabs. Sky also already scouting out the next move, keeping tabs on some of those teams that are starting to box up overhead. It's going to be AXA, but obviously there are just a couple of other teams sort of lingering nearby. Salco and Nact. Momsy Skyjump also in for 7. Unfortunately, no longer a participant as Sky and Scroll immediately punish those two for trying to make their way overhead. But this is just part of the awareness that's involved when you're dealing with the likes of Sky and Scroll.
And believe it or not, that's the first elimination of the tournament coming in game number 2 here. 17 duos now remaining, so the lobby starting to get thinned out. This is where Sky and Scroll start to perform the best. It's end game, especially when they're live side by side. 6 shockwaves as well. It doesn't get better for AGAL. Still though, a long way to go now. And decisions to make. Do you play for high ground? Do you go down to low ground? They have so much mobility here to go ahead and work with. Colts and Acorn looking to get active as well.
It's just going to be a really tough task for anybody that does choose to try and tango on that ultimate low ground, because Sky Scroll, something they do excellently compared to a lot of other teams is they just fully understand we can tank up some of these storm ticks to get ahead of the rest of the lobby, really claim a lot of spaces. Cold nearly finds himself getting eliminated along the way, but will just barely manage to stay standing. Panzer Yapko, despite suffering a little bit of damage from Acorn and Bolts earlier on, now looking upwards, trying to force Sky and Scroll's hand, and sure enough, Scroll has fallen. Now it's on the other end of the stick here for Sky to be the one to come out with a solo clutch performance.
Man, they just can't catch a break. This is a tough spot to be in. Another teammate down. What can Sky do? Well, we'll keep tabs on them. Cold Rapid on the other side are moving and grooving. Low ground is theirs. Still 17 duos remaining, although 2 players have fallen now. Things are getting a little bit tough here for Momsy and Skyjump. You know, they were the first to get the safe zone. They positioned a little bit high, but they felt like it was too early to go for high ground all the way. Sky seems to have been fully eliminated, and now it's Havoc, Swizzy, and Pixie up top once again. Back-to-back games here, going for the early high ground.
Like a really tough break there for Sky and Scroll, but they'll just have to sit and wait to see who's actually going to continue trying to capitalize on their elimination here. Who's going to start creating some distance is Deemish Darm, just trying to make their way towards this front side of zone, but with Swizzy and Pixie just bearing down from overhead, it is going to be rather scary because everyone else, you have to worry about blocking off your overhead space, but then you also have to worry about what's directly in front of you, and part of that might just involve Kanata and Victor V.
Oh, my. Look at this. The boys are up and running here for Team Dignitas. Meanwhile, Demis is under fire here. T1 might be in trouble. 2 HP just left here. Only a single point earned. Playing with that zone so close. Almost gets taken out there by itself. He is just looking to hold on by a thread right now. Every team that falls, though, he's earning a little bit more points. 14th place now, a little bit more earned. This is the difference. This is what it takes if you want to be at the top. Golden Rapid also struggling here, and they make their way to the vending machine there.
What a little bit of a robbery there from Golden Rapid while the rest of the lobby is just suffering. Gold Rapid managed to find a little bit of breathing space, but of course, Gold Rapid still running extremely low on material. They've got a little bit of a safe safety net inside the building, but they're going to have to break out of it eventually and then start to get involved with the rest of this lobby. Swizzy and Pixie all the while just racking up elimination, but so is Panzer with 5 already, but immediately falls the moment that he tries to make his way forward, and teams are just dropping like flies here. The way that the zone is pulled, all the shifting elevation has done some damage, and Coyote and Yuma have somehow managed to just steal hideaway from Swizzy and Pixie.
It's a fight up top, Asia versus Europe's best here, and it's going back and forth, but it doesn't come without its own troubles. Coyote finds one onto Pixie. Swizzy's all that's standing way up top, and it's Zeta's Coyote who's down low. Swizzy, though, it cost him a lot of extra builds there. He's only down to wood here. This is not the strongest structure, of course, to play with. Cold and Rapid fully sent back to the lobby. I believe it's just Gone and Knight here, one of the few duos remaining. Kanata's a solo down. He goes. Bolt is still in this. Cold takes a significant amount of fall damage, but somehow still standing in here. This could be the difference. Here comes the pressure. Down he goes. More points heading towards Gonan. Knight representing for Brazil.
But Swizzy, fact of the matter is, he's still managing to stay on the high ground. Somebody's got to chop him eventually. Instead, he'll even opt to reconnect, but now he'll be forced to drop Knight and Gone. They took care of Coyote. They're looking to take down Swizzy next, but it's not going to be easy. Knight and Gone are just refusing to budge.
Where did Bolts come from? How is he still in this game? We have seen him do it before. Can he do it again here on land? Of course, it's going to be a tough one, but in the end, Knight will take that win with honestly a dominant performance there.
And what's even more ridiculous about Knight and Gone winning this secondary match, think about how the game started for them. These guys were being chased non-stop. We saw their names one after the other lighting up that elimination feed, and yet still they managed to keep their bearings and make a strong endgame run to net themselves the victory royale. It is actually incredible that they were able to recover in this fashion.
Very difficult endgame there. That elevation just started chopping away at the build. You saw that verticality as Swizzy was just trying to hold on desperately. I didn't even know Bolts was hiding in the mid layers alongside Swizzy, right? Like, there's just so much going on there. But in the end, Gone, what a way to do it. He's happy. Of course, this club's happy. And just like that, we get these highlights here. Cold and Rapid pop off. Gone and Knight win the game. The last shots go through. And just like that, we have our Game 2 winners.
You know, Furia is definitely going to be celebrating, though. Gotta appreciate the love that Gone and Knight were clearly showing the org with the jersey flex, and obviously, that's going to come with a pretty big mix-up for the leaderboard standings, too. You knew that there was going to be a little bit of shakeups, especially since we saw some of our leading duos from that last lobby kind of struggling, but the big takeaway for me, MDF, was seeing what happened to Sky and Scroll dropping all the way down in leaderboard standing. It is a tough blow. They were originally in that 9th place position when the match had started off, and now they find themselves sitting right around 13th with only 30 points. AGAL, you know, pressure's definitely rising.
Yeah, I mean, hey, they still have a foot in the door with the competition, but tough spot to be in. Only earning 3 points over single elimination. You kind of go the distance as well. They have this placement. Like, there's just so much.
Sure, but obviously a lot more Fortnite to still work through, so make yourselves comfy because we'll be right back.
A lot of people are haunted by their past. I'm inspired by it.
They're not just playing for themselves, they're really playing for their entire family.
They have defeated their demons! They have crushed the curse!
I'm here with the legends themselves, Mr. Savage and Clicks once again. Boys, you watched day number 1, Group A. How are you feeling about it? Did you enjoy the day yesterday?
I think yesterday was sick, you know, watching EU absolutely dominate, just like I expected with Shark and Teeny. No, it was amazing, yeah.
Yeah, now, Clicks, if I remember rightly, yesterday you said Booga would be the team to look out for. What happened with that?
To be honest, so he's a vet. He's really smart. He's been playing this game for 9-8 years. You have to understand, he thinks with IQ. He wants to play Last Chance Qualifier to have more practice than the other players. So going into Final Saturday, that's when he's going to get the win.
Is that a strat that you tend to use when you play as well, or you just try and get the job done?
So I use that strategy a lot. I usually wait till the last game to qualify so I can get more games than everybody else. And then the second, I get in finals, I usually win because I have that extra practice.
It's just what you do. Savage, you're no stranger to sort of a last chance call as well. What's that like? Have we got any tips for those players that are in the survival stage now?
Yeah, probably just go back in my VODs, see what I usually do. I'm really familiar with scraping the qualifiers like my boy over here. So yeah, if they want to talk to us, then we're right here. So
you said you don't scrape, Clicks. When have you ever scraped?
I never scrape qual. That's the thing. I don't leave it to Last Chance Qualifier to qual for globals. I don't have to win a Last Chance Qualifier or Grand Finals game to get into Grands. I usually get it right away, and then I usually watch Mr. Savage on EU. Or I watch like other NA noobs.
Okay, you don't watch me play?
I watch you play. You're pretty good too. I'm not gonna lie.
Appreciate that. Now we got Group B. You guys were mentioning some names from yesterday. What are some names that you guys are looking out for today in Group B?
Well, I think my top 3 for today would probably be Sky and Scroll, Oli and his teammate, and Cold and Rapid did really good day 1, so maybe Rapid can pull something off when he's playing with a tier 1. So
a lot of people call Goatly or Oatly Goatly. Yeah. You agree with that?
Yeah, he's the go. He's the go for sure. And he just did his face reveal, and yeah, I think he looks great. So.
He's got that Ferrari too as well, right? So he's got that aura about him. Clicks, any NA teams to look out for today as well?
NA teams to look out for, I'm gonna have to say my duo Rapid and Cold. I do feel a little bit bad. Rapid is unfortunately playing with someone a little bit worse than me as like a fragger, but as you can see, they're still first. So knowing how it would feel like if we were to be there together, we would be first by more than 8 points.
Yeah, how does that feel when you see your teammate playing with someone else? Do you feel a bit of betrayal right there?
No betrayal at all. I actually feel a little bit of like sadness. It's more of like kind of what I said before is like, I know as he's playing with Cold, he's thinking about me in a positive way, of course. Yeah.
I mean, who isn't thinking about you? And of course, who isn't thinking about both you guys here for the Coast streamers? I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the games, and thank you so much for the interview.
What are you doing?
I'm practicing my floss.
We don't do this anymore.
You're 6-7 now.
20, mais 20, mais 20, mais 7. Aí é muito fácil, professor. É 6-7.
Jacob, do you maybe want to show us what you've learned from that? Do you want to?
I mean, I could show you, but it may not be that good. You know what I mean? Hit him with one of these.
There it is.
Hit him with one of those.
There
it just gets done.
There it is. Obviously, we are here at EWC. It was an incredible last game. Are there any duos that you wanted to highlight? I feel like, I don't know, there's probably a duo out there that we're really excited to see. Maybe like Skyjump, Momsy. I don't know why I get in that vibe, but it feels like a duo that people are really excited to see.
Yeah, I think they're excited to see him because I heard the crowd erupt when they won that first game, really set the tone and the pace. And honestly, throughout the history of Fortnite, the French players didn't necessarily get all the same respect and competitive, but this year with the Summit Championship, with here, these French players are showing up, and they're showing up big.
It's got to feel so good, right? Especially in this context with these fans going crazy. Incredible. Another duo I wanted to highlight, it's Iamzo and Josh, right? They're here on LAN. I love to see them compete. I mean, obviously, this crowd is amazing. Are you guys feeling hyped for the competition? Make some noise! We love it. It is time, though, to get into more action from EWC. You might be thinking, where can I learn those dance moves? That's our boy Jacob, DPR, across all socials. Got to throw some love. It takes a lot of guts to go ahead and hit moves like that for the broadcast.
Let's be so honest. Jacob is one of a kind, and he's the best Puerto Rican out there for a reason, right? It's in the title, but getting back to the competition itself, MDF, it has been a very interesting start, but more importantly, Cold and Rapid, what they're able to accomplish, the little bit of disparity they're creating in terms of leaderboard standing because of the eliminations that they're managing to accrue, it might be a tall task for Momsy and Skyjump to stay within that trailing period, but they are still in the fight for that first place position.
Yeah, this reload format is surely playing into the favor of Rapid and Cold. It's a really interesting duo too. You're looking at two of NA's strongest fraggers on a duo together in a type of format where you are quite literally reloaded and rewarded for taking down players. So with game 3 booting up here, let's see how things are going to play out. Cold and Rapid here. So with game 3 booting up here, let's see how things work. It surely does there. Very nice job done for them. And then we get on to win those here for the Tower Bolts. Rapid have a nice comfy lead. They touch down first. Rapid versus Bolts here for the Tower Bolts. Ends up taking the first one. Jojo Fishy has to win those, and he surely does there. You also have
Since here, we've seen Spooks 2 matches over already. Some decent early game successes, but I'm gonna keep lurking around. Jojo might just find himself sandwiched between Polish and Australia, but it's Spooks running in, trying to steal it away, has no success. Still, Darm incredibly weak, but Spooks now in a similar note, gonna try and see if he can escape, but it's a 2 versus 1 fiasco right now, and Spooks will not be able to reveal or avoid the pressure out of Darm and Deemish.
You know what? Spooks has put up such an impressive performance here, just coming in, continuing to earn points off of those elimination chains like that. That's what you had to do. And then the timing there, right? Hey, you didn't put in the work to get that first one, but you snatch it away at the time.
And Deemish.
You know what? Spooks has put up
it's a 2 versus 1 fiasco right now, and Spooks will not try and see if he can escape, but it's a 2 versus 1 fiasco right now.
Trouble here, and I can't even believe you have Sky and Scroll as a part of the few duos down in that conversation, barely holding on with 32 points.
And of course, there is always the club championship standings too that are factoring in for Group B's competition. Cold and Rapid, of course, steadily leading the charge here. I'm trying to represent for Twisted Minds, but T1's not done just yet. Anon going to be eliminated by Darm. A little bit of a review into some of these early successes here. Got to see the other pieces of the puzzle from before Darm was able to take out Jojo Fishy and Spooks.
Yeah, well, don't hold your breath. We got some serious action coming up here. It's Swizzy and Pixie on the fight right now. He ends up disengaging. This is a sign of respect for Cold and Rapid as they get back to their duos there. That could have gone either way as both teams were kind of involved in that fight, and I don't think they liked the way that pressure felt, even though they were going blow for blow, exchange for exchange there.
Can be a tough spot to be in though, but regardless, teams like Cold and Rapid certainly like to open up the doorway of making those aggressive kind of instances. And well, with the way that the competition is starting to unfold, some of these teams might not have any other options to resort to. They're going to have to start making up for some of those misplacement points by factoring in with elimination points instead, but it's always easier said than done.
Definitely see Acorn making the best of cutting that glider to really thread the needle there, get on under the bridge here, trying to secure a little bit of time and space from himself in his duo here. As Bolts is the one who's on the hunt right now. He's got control of the outskirts, so this is the reuniting of the two. Meanwhile, we get those leaderboard updates all the way down to the bottom there. AHL Snow and MHND just struggling to really put points on the board for their club, but anything is possible. A 10-game format, there's a lot to play for here, as this is only match 3.
Yeah, just think about what happened yesterday. How the team was able to bail themselves out. Mofu and Tomat, it looked like it was going to be the end of their run yesterday. Then they managed to find the Game 10 Victory Royale, so can never completely rule anybody out just yet. Sky and Scroll, though, definitely trying to get a move on, but they are under some early pressure from Coyote and Yuma. And Sky just getting picked apart, having to use a lot of those resources that he just gathered up just to stay standing. And Skrull even looking to create a little bit more space. Unfortunately, he might just have to leave Sky to the wolves here. And Sky knows he's got a very steep disadvantage to try and contend with, but Yuma and Coyote can't blame him for wanting to just fully collapse.
Yeah, I was going to say, you saw that duo really pushing in. Here's Dignitas Kanata and Victor V sticking to that strategy, playing dead side rotates right now. So we get that little update. The V continue to light up. Rapid seems to have backed up his teammate. Meanwhile, Southco from downtown hits a monster shot there, going to initiate. That Mammoth pistol is so exciting. I'm glad we don't have that in BR at the moment. It is definitely a game changer. Golden Rapid are still staying so active. Here's your Game 2 winner, still alive here, settling in well. Meanwhile, Zeta's got some serious pressure coming in. Rapid Cold get another elimination. This is it. It just keeps on going the way they wanted to. This is their format.
Rapid and Cold have definitely been leading the charge in terms of kind of establishing a standard for Group B's competition. And sadly, Anifio hoping that he can escape. He's just got next to nothing to work with. It is rags versus riches, essentially. And Rapid actually forfeiting the chase is a bit shocking. But at the same time, it's because he knows he's right in the tunnel. Yeah, I've got him locked away. And even if he tries to surface, we can stake this one out.
Yeah. You know, there's other duels down there too, so just try to be careful. Here's a look from Zeta Yuma's perspective as he takes down Sky. I didn't want to really highlight that when I first saw it, but I was hoping that Sky and Skrull can kind of get their footing going. They're trying something differently, playing a little bit more aggressively now since they didn't before, and I think they're starting to sense a little bit of desperation, right? 30 points is really not where you want to be kind of in the first quarter of the games. But hey, I can respect that they're trying something different now.
The earlier matches would be the best time to experiment, and even if it all goes south, one silver lining for Sky and Skrull is just knowing that they are a team that can deliver a whopping performance. Would not be surprised to see them even perform in like a similar nature to what we saw at Peterborough and Pollo yesterday, where it kind of took them slower starting half, and then they really just started to come alive in the secondary portion of it. So only time will tell whether or not some of those new ideas actually come to fruition for them, or if they're going to have to go back to the drawing board. But for Josh and Zoe, they're really just taking their sweet time. Ample medkits, just tossing them across the map, doing a great job at just wrapping around some of the natural terrain, avoiding line of sight, and obviously, they might even have an opportunity if they find any duos that are incredibly injured to try and establish some elimination points.
You can run, but you can't hide Acorn. Where's your teammate? Where's your backup? Panzer and Japco are on the hunt right now. I already saw Acorn's bolts go down, so that was almost Acorn and Bolts being fully eliminated from the tournament there. Should be enough time by now. So Acorn has done his job, and look, it's cost him everything. Metal builds everywhere. That's the sign of a desperate player on the run.
And the worst part is knowing that Yapko and Panzer, they are not going to give up the chase anytime soon. They're just hunting this man down. Panzer goes directly over his cone. Neither of them are checking this position. There's no way Yapko and Panzer don't have a Scooby about what's going on right now. But Acorn just saw in his mouse, not going to reveal himself. And now Panzer and Yapko, they might get distracted by another team entirely.
Sounds like they lost signal in the tunnel there, you know? No reception, no signal. Can't hear you, can't see you, that's for sure. Panzer and Japco just allowed Acorn to get away with that. Acorn now even has time to heal. He's out of the visual effect for the heal cue there too. That was a close one.
Nah, Yapko and fans are gonna watch that one back and be kicking themselves for it. That's a bit of a doozy, but hey, goes to show, can have some of the best. Darn Deemish though, scoping back in. big part of their strategy so far today has definitely revolved around utilizing these launchpad features. And of course, plenty of teams that are going to be looking to kind of glide in a little bit after the fact. Everyone trying to preserve as much of their material count as they can, because already in the 2 lobbies in a row, we've seen so many teams just struggling to have any builds presence by the end of it.
It's actually a really good time for especially Darman Demish to play the zone. 66 points in the tournament. They're on the cuff of basically being or continuing to be in the qualifier conversation. So with the super launch pad there, the extra heals late into the tournament run, and they already earned a couple points, that is a very smart play for them. Victor V, Kanata finally get their heals here kind of set in and dug in, and they're inside the safety of the new zone. You see the focus there also on Victor's pops as he's watching the competition here, intently seeing what Victor can do.
And see, it's a really interesting dynamic too between Victor V and Kanata, because they found their success. They got their qualification locked in so early on in the competitive year. So after all these adaptations that they've had to make for the competitive meta in Reload, we've still really yet to see them find their rhythm.
Yeah, look, they've only gotten a single elim as well, right? Victor V is one of the best fighters on NA right now. He is definitely putting up the performances. You look at the analytics and the stats after every tournament, his damage ratios are crazy. But this land performance is setting in, I think, for the young buck. So, you know, he's just really got to figure it out, maybe kick the nerves aside, and nothing else. Get ready to stay above the bottom 3. You just don't want to be down there. So we'll continue to keep you guys updated. Sky and Scroll need to do it as well. What is going on with their strategy? They're not performing up to par.
Definitely not, but again, it's just one of those circumstances where sometimes zone pools are just a little bit more vicious than what you originally anticipated, and the rest of this lobby, they are going to be hawking down any signs of weakness, and especially when you've got a duo like Swizzy and Pixie doing such an excellent job at just making those initial grabs for height and maintaining it relatively well. They've been challenged a couple of different times, and we've seen that be the demise of some other teams, but for the most part, Swizzy Pixie have certainly made their mark on the high ground already.
Yeah, definitely earning a couple points there. Again, those club championship points are critical for the EWC. This is going to mean so much. You have to fight your way up and out of this qualifier to make it to the grand finals, and then everything will culminate into a one final finale. Victor V, Kanata getting ready for the rotate here, crash pads in hand. Let's see what they can do. Anon and Vising go first. Kanata's the IGL of this duo. Cold and Rapid here on the other side. The double fragger, the big power. There goes the crash pad. Following close here. He's on Kanata's heels. This could be a tough fight.
Kanata, though, definitely wary of the fact that they've got at least a handful of teams surrounding them, but for the most part, still in control of that frontside position. Meanwhile, Sky, Scroll, maybe have to get it at the mud a little bit here. In a bit of a tough spot. You can tell that they want to start making a little bit of an opening sequence, but just not really being provided to them. A little bit too much action, and they just don't want to find themselves on the receiving end of it as Swizzy, Pixie, attempting loot pile, but that was the intention all along. The trap's going to net a little bit of damage, but no knock just yet. Still, you have to be very cautious about seeing those little loot piles roaming about.
Yeah, this is a big time right now for Panzer and Japko, the GK duo. They've already earned a little bit of points here. Bolt and A-Corner eyeing up that suspicious metal box down low, trying to wait for that duo to move. It was Kanata, Victor V. Off they go. Bolt and A-Corner go to the outskirts here. They position themselves pretty well right now. They're just trying to make sure they don't get cut off here. Acorn, of course, one of the smartest to do it. Meanwhile, high ground. Cold, Rapid, all the time in the world here. There goes the Shockwave. Off they go to the front side. Havocs, Swizzy, and Pixie still playing high to mid-ground layer. Too early to really commit to high ground. Cold and Rapid jump down a little bit.
Bit of an awkward transition now because Cold Rapid recognizing the fact that Anon applying a little bit of pressure from behind, but still they do have a more leading spot, so that's going to be for Anon to try and break through his Momsy sky jump. They got tagged up a bit there from Cold before Rapid made that rotate, so they will be forced to take a little bit of a pause and heal.
Yamzo, Josh from Team Elite is down and out. Bolts, Acorn from Twisted Minds, down and out. That's 5th and 8th place now. This is going to change the standings, and we should have a crunch on the points for Pixie, for Swizzy. This is a very, very nice find as they'll be able to gap themselves ahead of the competition. And it's really interesting. Pixie and Swizzy are identifying themselves as the high ground duo of this group stage right now, continuing to play for these dominant positions, and they're not afraid. They're not afraid to go early and ride it out to the end.
They are committing so much so early on, but when you're able to get these stronghold positions and everyone else is kind of just forced into more congested layers, Momsy making the attempt to potentially go up, but he's just not going to be able to actually connect. So Pixie and Swizzy continue to be uncontested on height. Kanata and Victor V, though, starting to get a little bit of momentum building, but they still have so much room to actually break through before the placement points really start to factor in here. Demish Darm finding a 4th elimination here, and they know every single one of these points counts.
This is the most important part of the tournament right here, right now for this game. Start earning placement points or you will be set behind. Southco's going to be the next duo to fall there. He's down and out. Cold and Rapid still playing that mid layer. They haven't quite gotten the refresher though. Notice that Cold is starting to gas out on material. Meanwhile, Pixie, Swizzy, the early high ground take proved to be a smart move. He still has 5 missiles in the rocket launcher. Down low, our friend Solo, sky jump in the game, jumping base to base, takes down Gone with a monstrous shot there. Your match 2 game winners are down. One's out. What more can he do?
And Skyjump just continues to find the perfect openings, the perfect delays from the rest of the lobby. But now Sky Scroll continuing to try and seek out even more refreshes. They're going to need every single bit of material they can get. Scroll's going to lose a lot of his shield. Scroll is going to be out of this.
Whoa.
Sky eliminated also. Knight and Gone immediately follow. This leaderboard is all due for a big shakeup.
That is so bad for AGAL. They fall and slow down Havoc and Swizzy on top, finding more and more Elins, and they're doing it in a cinematic fashion. Look at that, Team Joe go down low, getting the pressure here from Swizzy and Pixie. This is now a top 6 duos situation. Kanata by himself, 5 Elims earned with this duo. But what more can he do? Yasin here is a team that's very hurt. He ends up following up. Another Elim for him there. Oatly and Jogo fall down with Spooks down below. Meanwhile, Cold and Rapid, 9 Elims. They are so far and wide ahead of the competition. It's impressive.
And they know that they've got a solo right behind them, and it's Kanata. He's not the only one, though. Pixie, Swizzy just barraging these teams underneath them with the RPGs. This pressure is so much to contend with. Cold's not going to be able to overcome it. Pixie and Swizzy just making it look all too easy here in Game 3.
Cold, calm, cool, collected. They do it once again. Swizzy and Pixie are looking and shaping up to be one of the strongest duos on the evening. And you know what? It's because they're not afraid to play for high ground and really put it all on the line there.
But at the same time, Cold, Rapid, when you look at how many eliminations they were able to secure, it's for good reason that they're not interested in height. They are just absolutely tearing through every single team that they run into. They're doing such a great job at torping ahead, claiming space, and having the luxury of looking back and just eliminating anyone misfortunate enough to cross their paths. But love seeing that little bit of sigh of relief, it seemed like, from Minipio and Cocoon. They were definitely in the hot seat as this game started, sitting inside of that bottom 3 of the leaderboard, but this placement bound to help elevate the position on the leaderboard.
Most definitely. The crowd here cheering for Swizzy and Pixie. You see the signs being held up and the chants come through. Swizzy's feeling good. He's playing into it. You love to see it. Where was this Swizzy at the last land? That's what I want to know. As Pixie is also basking in the moment. This is just lovely stuff here.
Team Havoc's definitely got to be very happy with their performance so far, and if Swizzy and Pixie can keep it up, you never know. Cold, Rapid, sure they might be securing the eliminations, but they're taking a lot more risk by staying inside of those more congested areas in comparison to Swizzy and Pixie, who are still netting a decent amount of eliminations in a stylistic fashion to find these strong placements too.
Yeah, Fuku, we saw there in the highlights with Mini Pollo, actually ended up finding their stride, finally really getting their foot in the tournament here, jumping themselves significantly up and out of those somewhat dangerous positions down low. Same can be said for Victor V and Kanata, who we saw also finally make an endgame, but the upsets surely are going to be for Elite's Iamzo there. We saw that too. They fell super early, really kind of allowing other teams to, have a chance.
Nothing to be too pressed over though, given that they do still have 7 more lobbies to try and make that bit of a bounce back. But yeah, you just don't want to find yourself sinking during these earlier phases, because it does become all that more complicated to actually cement yourself inside of that top 7. I mean, think about Kayota and Yuma, a duo that was just at the cutting line, I believe, before that lobby had started, and now finding themselves just slightly pushed out from the threshold.
Yeah, also Acorn and Bolts, you saw they're kind of slipping down, falling very early, just allowing other teams to go ahead and shuffle around. Well, that allows teams to, of course, start to get crunched in with the points, giving us a much more competitive competition. But I think this is what we expect at the Elite Stronghold map, right? Let's be honest, it's pretty volatile. Going into this Slurp Rush, the next map, that is going to really shift things up. I'm pretty much done with Cold and Rapid at this point. They're doing this on Elite Stronghold. I don't want to see what they're capable of when things are a little bit more streamlined in the other map.
And it's crazy to think about too, because there is that mini competition that's been building between Cold, Rapid, Swizzy, Pixie, and yet we're still seeing a very comfortable lead from Cold and Rapid because of how many more eliminations they've been able to rack up. Momsy and Skyjump though, obviously huge shout outs to them, still managing to keep their footing, but SAUL, Faded and Khan doing an excellent job at representing for that club championship metric, and hey, the points can really start to factor in, and these two have clearly managed to capture a ton of success inside of the reload format.
There's Skyjump, there's Momsy sitting back here, just kind of taking in the moment, reevaluating the strategy coming in. The crowd happy to see them, of course, on the big stage here. Third place, not too shabby as we start gearing up here for match number 4. They're doing pretty well, averaging over 3 eliminations a game, roughly 6th place. That's a pretty impressive performance.
I think right about now, though, is where teams might really start to feel a little bit more of a crunch, because while a lot of players would definitely argue that Slurp Rush is the more preferred map, it's hard to say. But we know one thing's for sure, Swizzy and Pixie have been finding a ton of success here on Elite Stronghold, so let's hear it more from them directly.
That's right. They are indeed finding success. Here they are, your winners after this last game. Swizzy, Pixie, oh my gosh. You heard it here the moment you guys got that massive victory. Even now, let that sink in for a moment, boys. They are cheering you guys on. How does it feel to have this crowd immediately behind you guys, giving you all the support?
It feels amazing. Thank you all guys for support, for supporting us. We actually appreciate it a lot.
Of course. How does it feel for you? Does it feel the same? Are you kind of overwhelmed by it? Or you're like, oh, dude, I'm used to hearing this.
It feels good. It feels very good.
I love that. So what's the game plan, guys? Obviously, big game for you. Is it going to be kind of continuing more of the same? Or are you guys thinking about right here, right now? Or are you maybe thinking about finals? Where are you guys at?
We're just playing.
Classic global champion, no big deal. What about for you? Are you still focused on the games? You're already starting to think forward and thinking maybe finals. This one, I'm thinking about that.
We're just playing this as practice, I guess.
I love that. Obviously, with the competition, this being Group B, is there any duos you guys are looking around, you're thinking, man, I kind of would love to take a fight with them, or are you guys not even worried about any other duos?
No, we're not even worried about anyone.
Classic. I love this guy, Ice Cold. What about you?
Not really anyone.
Gentlemen, thank you guys so much. Congrats on the VR. Make some noise for these guys right here, crowd. And of course, we're going to throw it on over to Luddy, who's standing by.
and I'm here with Skyjump and Mumsy. Guys, congratulations. I'm gonna ask them some French question, of course, because we're in front of a French audience, but don't worry, I'm gonna translate for you. Première question, bon, ça s'est plutôt bien passé. On dit souvent que pour un tournoi, il faut faire une bonne entrée en matière. Première game, top 1. Comment est-ce que tu te sens après cette première game?
Réussir la première game, qui est souvent la plus difficile, entre guillemets, c'est toujours un bon moyen de rentrer dans le tournoi. Surtout que c'est 10 parties, donc c'est pas une course, c'est un marathon, faut gagner d'autres games.
So of course, winning the first map, I asked him how he feel about winning the first map because, of course, in a tournament like that, you have to be big at the beginning. He say it is the hardest game to win, so we're really happy to do it. But it's a marathon. We know we have other game to win, but it was a good way to start the tournament. There's a question for you, Mamsi. So how are you doing now? Like in front of the French crowd, what is the feeling? Like you heard them when you make this victoire royale in the first games. How it is to play in front of the crowd? Do you like it, or you are a little bit under pressure? La question que je te pose, c'est vous avez gagné, t'as entendu le public exploser, je pense en même temps que vous quand vous avez pop-off. C'est plutôt stressant, plutôt ça te fait plaisir. C'est quoi le ressenti de jouer devant un public français?
Franchement, au début, c'était un peu stressant quand je venais de rentrer. Après, passer les 5 premières minutes, directement, t'es dedans. Et dès qu'on a top 1, je chantais que voilà, c'était pour nous, quoi.
Of course, at the beginning it was a little bit intimidating when we entered the stage because there was so much noise. But after 5 minutes on the game, and I just get to hit a lot of people, and I was like, I can feel when we have this first win, it is for us. And get to hit a lot of people, and I was like, do you want to say something to the French crowd? Do you have like a message for them? Est-ce que tu as un petit message à passer à tous les fans français, que ce soit sur les streams ou aussi sur place, qui sont venus pour vous encourager?
En vrai, continuez, le support, ça aide beaucoup, en vrai, les joueurs, les messages, etc. Continuez à faire du bruit et on va essayer de win pour vous.
He say, guys, continue. The message and the support you have for us is kind of insane, and every message you send on social media is helping a lot. So thank you. We're gonna do it for us, but we're gonna do it for you as well. Merci beaucoup les gars. Bonne chance pour vos games. Good luck for your games, guys. Have a good run, and hopefully you will make it to the top 7 for qualify. Back to you guys.
Check in with Trev because you've got some CC updates over in Crossfire. Who's in, who's out, what's going on?
Well, at the moment, it's Na'Vi, Vitality, and AGL who have made it to the top 8. The quarterfinals have just started now, and we'll play through them all today. So we'll see if any of them manage to get to the semi-finals. But even bigger news for the teams who are out, Team Falcons is one of them, which is absolutely huge for the club championship. Obviously, they've now managed to put themselves 300 points ahead again, thanks to getting the top 8 in CS2. But here in Crossfire, they're out of the competition.
apply more pressure onto the low ground. I actually was one of the games where I didn't see too many players trying to steal height, and I think that's just from how dominant they were holding that high ground. And speaking of dominance, of course, Cold and Rapid with their eliminations have been at the top of the leaderboard in the first 2 games, but Swizzy and Pixie have finally stole that away, Seven.
Yeah, Cold and Rapid being able to just stay towards the top of the leaderboard too, without a victory royale yet. Levin, what are you pointing out over there towards the match ranking?
Well, it's just a match ranking.
It's not
right?
the overall ranking.
It's not the overall ranking. It's not the overall ranking. But I think especially in the case of Cold and Rapid, they're going to be way up there, right? Because they just keep having these really strong games.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, actually, Cold and Rapid are in first place. That's why I was a little bit surprised to see there, and a lot of that is just due to how many eliminations they have.
I mean, Cold and Rapid are playing incredibly well. We obviously had a conversation after game number 1. The natural terrain was very, very tough for all of our teams specifically, but for Cold and Rapid, they'd like to play a very, very intense low ground strategy, right, where they're all the way on the bottom of the map. Similar situation here in game number 3, where natural terrain kind of pulled on top of a hill, but every single time they are managing to get themselves up ahead of all of their teams. Like, how are you the team that is playing at the absolute bottom, but you're still making it? You're still the first team to actually make it on top of these natural terrains to actually go ahead and clutch up these incredible placements.
I think the beauty is when you're Rapid and you are playing with quite literally the best mid and low ground fragger of all time. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Just sit on mid-ground, let him get a bunch of limbs for you. You're always just going to be able to tarp ahead and make sure you're in a good position to stay in the priority position.
They're being so successful at it that actually in game number 1, we saw that Cold and Rapid tried to go for height just a little bit, but they're like, no, this isn't for us. But even that opportunity, they didn't falter. They were able to kind of go for it, and they're like, no, we're going to stick to the mid and low ground there. So they just can obviously win from any angle.
11. Yesterday, we got a chance to see you being a coach.
Right.
Now it's time to have another coach talk with Levin 2K. Because there is one team that's truly underperforming, and that is none other than AGL. And we just heard it from Travis. Well, AGL is putting on the heat over there because Falcons got eliminated. AGL here need to do exactly what Falcons was able to do yesterday, which was bounce back.
That's true. Okay, thankfully, you picked a team I like. I was going to say, actually, I just will rescind my coaching offer. I don't want it anymore. But in the case of Sky and Skrull, everything you've done this year has led to this moment. You've climbed the mountaintop in EU twice. You've been the most consistent team. Many people think you are one of the best duos to ever live. But it has to be here in Reload. You have to showcase it across the range of the modes. We believe in you. I believe in you. I don't want to put too much pressure on you. Forget the noise of the AGL Club Championships for just a moment and remember who you are. The best duo in the world.
Right. Shivers. Come on here.
Simple. We'll just... And now let's see though. Because obviously, after yesterday, Peter Bond pointed on a masterclass. I had people atting me on socials like, thank you, Levin, so much, man. I mean, Peter Boyle needed it. I'm like, all right, guys. Let's see if Sky and Skrull can step it up now.
Well, luckily for us and luckily for you too, after that coach talk, we still have 7 more games to go. But let's take a look at the overall. As Twisted Cold and Twisted Rapid are currently in that first place because of what you were saying, Kelly, earlier. Those eliminations are coming out.
I mean, we see them from the start. As soon as they're going off spawn, they're getting at least 2-3 eliminations every single time. And I think game 2 was a little bit more passive, but still able to grab a handful of eliminations. And then in that last game, 10 eliminations for them. And they didn't even get second place. I think they ended up that game in third. But for me, Vivid, what really is shocking me about this leaderboard right now is how many smaller regions we have represented in our top 10 right now. We got Oatly, we got Yuma, we got Gone, we got so many players. I just was not expecting to see this so early.
I mean, you want to talk about smaller regions. Levin, I think you might have something to say about this one, right? NA West, quote unquote, Kanata and Victor V up there in the top 7. So good to see them have a good game 3 to make sure that they kind of stay in contention. Would love to see Acorn and Bolts kind of join the ranks because this top 7 right now, pretty EU heavy.
I mean, the whole tournament's been EU heavy, guys. I don't know if you've been paying attention. I mean...
Hold up. Let's wait till we get to finals, all right?
Yeah, all right. I mean, I think we will have a great final for sure. It's going to be filled with a lot of the best EU teams.
Well, we do get to see a little bit of Brazil there with Furia being able to get at least one victory royale. I know you were heavy on Brazil yesterday. Let's see what's going to happen with them today.
No, I'm really impressed by Gon, right? Gon in particular is a player who I've been a big fan of since obviously he played at Globals in 2024. Kelly, we were talking a lot coming into this competition. I said my team from the Brazil region was Leo and Romero. You said you had, Gon, and I feel like both of them are impressing so far.
And this is something that is honestly often talked about, of how Brazil is, we call these all like smaller regions that aren't EU or NAC, but Brazil has to be the best region out of the smaller regions. And time again, they try to prove themselves as one of the big ones.
That being said, though, take a look at this second page, right? You're like, oh my gosh, like Josh and Yamzo, a team that is so good. How are they in 14th place? To be fair, right, if you take a look at fifth place has 97 points. So the difference right now between fifth and that 14th spot location is actually just 23 points. So we are still very, very close. Of course, we haven't played that much Fortnite yet today, but do not be worried if you see some of your favorite teams kind of on that second page or further down the leaderboard than you might think. Still a lot of Fortnite to be played.
Yeah, we just saw Fu and Mini Pio actually being able to bounce back too after those first awful 2 games, because we gotta call it how it is. Those first 2 games were awful, but they were able to secure at least the 4th place here in this last one.
It is better late than never. I don't care if it was off on the first 2 games. The fact that they were able to get 2nd place against the likes of Cold and Rapid that got 3rd place in that game, that to me means so much more than having our first 2 good games.
Yeah, and I'm glad they actually just celebrated, right? We got all these EU players who are just like, yeah, nah, winning's just like, well, man, I ain't gonna celebrate a win. These guys come forth and they're like, yeah, bro, like, let's do it. Again, a team who their vibes are immaculate. Mini P, I feel like every time he's at these lands, he's always just so grateful to be a part of it, right? He always exudes that type of energy, and you really feel it here.
Like, even in that game, Levin, we were watching the reactions after the game, and it's like Swizzy and Pixie won, and they were just like, oh, yeah, whatever, you know what I mean? Just stone cold. Yeah, just do some free builds or whatever. Then Mini Poyo and Fu, they were the ones that are excited. They were the ones that were kind of getting emotional there because they picked up that 2nd place. So just incredible stuff to kind of see them on the stage doing well.
All right, we got a chance to get a coach talk earlier, but now it's time to do our pick'ems, and you can do your pick'ems at home too. Don't forget that you can go to the EWC Play app and put in your pick'ems, put in your predictions, and I'm gonna put y'all on the spot. And the one we're gonna be going with is none other than AGL, because they were in 17th place there, and it's a team that needs to bounce back. So after that coach talk, Levin, where do you have them finishing in the next match?
Ooh, in the next match, I think we're gonna see a top 3 from them, and I think we'll see a top 3 on the day still. I think they won't quite, burst their way into 1st place, but I think I could see them still finishing 3rd.
Kelly?
I'm going to say 5th place for this game, but this is the start of the change. We're going to see them climb up to 2nd place at the end of the day.
Listen, I think it'd be a little bit too obvious, right? The theme that we saw yesterday, P. Brown and Poyo, they were like in 17th place, and then it was after the 3rd game where they really started to heat things up. I think Sky and Scroll, I think they're going to need a couple of more games, man. I think in this next game, I think they're going to get like 11.
Oh, a stinker. A stinker.
You don't believe in the coach talk from Levin? You know what, Levin? I have full belief in your talk. And I think more people are going to be adding you on social media and using the hashtag EWC and hashtag EWC26, because that team, I have them winning the next game. But that's just my thoughts. That's just my pick'ems. Let's see what MBF and Taco got. You know, I'll put y'all on this spot. What is AGL going to finish on in this next match?
Look, Seven, I can appreciate your ambitious thoughts for wanting to see Sky and Skrull bring home a win, but with the way that we've been seeing Swizzy, Pixie, Cold, and Rapid sort of duke it out already, it's going to be a very tall ask. But more importantly still, we got that motivational speech out of Coach Levin, right, Monster? And I'm also thinking about the fact that there are just so many friends and family here in support of Sky and Skrull. AGL obviously going to be rocking behind their duo too, but I think it's really cool just seeing the likes of, personal coaches and friends like Eggy that are also on site. And with that kind of motivational factor behind them, it can certainly go a long way in turning the competition around.
I do think it's hilarious to keep tagging Levin as a coach, though. Might have to rebrand after that one. Get us all your thoughts down in the bottom. But with that being said, we do have a lot more Fortnite ahead of us. The next battle bus is here and ready. Let's see what Sky and Skrull can do. Let's see if the conversation was enough to help them get their head back on their shoulders, their feet back on that track, and off to the races. Demis Storm for T1 on the other side. We'll be one of the first to take a little bit of damage here, but not the first down and out. That is not going to be reserved to anyone just yet, even with the hot drop here.
Okay, the fact that he survived there, ridiculous. Looking a bit wiggly, solid movement, but it wasn't enough. Amazing, gonna cut that one short. The AXA and 7. And AXA will be the victors currently. Salvatore, though, looking to close in, maybe get a little bit of revenge here, but 2 versus 1 can be a little bit difficult to, and not exactly the most enticing fight to take.
Yeah, definitely a tough fight there. Pixie, Swizzy, little update from them. Slow start to the early game. Chisel Cubes, for the first time, actually being somewhat contested, in Pixie and Swizzy not looking to do a split drop at all. Meanwhile, Zeta's Coyote finds Rapid there, so already an exchange of blows going on around the map here. Yuma and Coyote putting it all on the line. This is super risky, but what a play from Coyote. The RPG into the shotgun follow-up. That's a monstrous moment there for Coyote. That's it, to keep them in the game as well. 2 elims now, and they will live to see another day.
Literal hero shots there by Coyote, and Yuma just able to place that full trust into his duo, that he will be able to connect on the most important shots there, because sure, it wouldn't have been the end of the world for Yuma to be fully eliminated, but it would have been a bit more annoying, that's for sure, because so many other players suffering that reboot circumstance around the map. Cold already finding his first elimination also here at Elite Experiments, and Cold, when left to his own devices, we've been seeing him toss up time and time again so many high elimination games.
It's really interesting, like for whatever reason, the way this battle bus played out, he did not go as aggressively in the early game, and it's looking more like a game 1 kind of slow burn approach here to the lobby. Take a look at that bigger picture. You see how the zone's starting to play out, that nice comfortable spread happening here. This looks more like some standard Fortnite action, but with that being said, don't worry. Let's just watch it again. Let's just see how Coyote find that first elimination. That's how he, of course, took down Rapid. And then this one right here. What a shot. There it is.
Impressive stuff, that's for sure. And Salvatore, yes, and they have managed to pick up 1 elimination. So a little bit of a pause in the action now for these 2, but Salvatore might still be on the hunt. Keep in mind that part of the reason why some of these teams are starting to take a little bit of that slower approach, yes, the bus path can definitely reflect in that, but I also think it's because teams are trying to not take too many risks, because from this point forward, they are just going to have to be focusing entirely on securing solid points. They want the club championship boost as well to factor in here.
And it looks like we do have some updated points there. See Team Falcon still barely holding on, but AGAL is now starting to sneak their way up as the club championship points are beginning to get updated. This really is an important moment now for Sky and Scroll. So one, make sure they qualify out of this bracket. It's been a competitive Group B, that's one thing for certain. And then everyone else, I mean, we were just looking at the points. It's a 1-game spread right now between roughly 14th or 15th all the way up to top 7. So no one is safe, even if you had a couple good rounds so far.
And Sky Scroll fully aware of the fact that they are trying to deliver on a top 7 performance. They know exactly what's at stake. And the fact that they're kind of flirting with disaster, potentially staring down the barrel of being in that bottom 3 position, this could be a crucial day for them. But they are looking to find some semblance of a recovery. They were rather isolated, far and away from the rest of the map. Only EWC really left to sort of hang with them. Skyjump, Mumsy, Golden Knight, other teams that have already had relatively good success on the day, looking to keep that momentum rolling here. Gon won't be able to get finishing blows onto Deemish, but that's where Knight just opts to pick up the conversation instead. Still, we'll have to deal with Darm along the way here, and Darm fighting for his life, doesn't want to get eliminated too soon because they are the cutoff. They are currently in that 7th place position, and for T1, they know club championship points, exactly what they're hunting for.
Listen, 3 eliminations separate you from 12th place to 6th place. 3 eliminations in a reload format. Come on, that's nothing. We might as well all be tied up on points here. And that's what I'm talking about. That's how close the competition is. So don't let all this leaderboard fool you. It is so competitive from 16th and upwards. And then you jump down to Sky and Scroll, who lead that massive game. this is where the players down here need massive games.
And they are getting a little bit squeezed right now by Coyote and Yuma. That RPG just forcing Sky and Scroll to opt for a different way of approach here. But Coyote and Yuma also got to take a moment to heal. Yuma getting a little bit more tagged up than what he was hoping for. Acid and Salvatore trying to close in on his position, but space has been created. The collapse won't be sought out just yet. Is now Rapid and Cold to head straight for the supply drop. World is their oyster at this point.
Yeah, definitely, as they're now fighting for the airdrop here. It's actually really nice. 4 eliminations for Cold and Rapid. I mean, they're so far ahead of the competition. It is just gross to watch at this point. They make the lobby look easy. Well, hey, we know Shark and TD obviously are going to have their work cut out for them as we are seeing some real light shine through. Take a look here. We get an update with Victor v. Kanata, 97 points here, 6th place on the overall standing. They were in 5th when this all started, but no eliminations earned just yet. Again, just a few eliminations separate them from the rest of the pack.
Really got to watch every step you take, even when you are in these more far and away spots on the map and no one's nearby just yet. It can all just change at a moment's notice. But Sky and Scroll looking to get a little bit more active here against Aoxy and Jojo Fishy. All the way far south on the fringe of Elite Armory. Jojo Fishy doing what he can to try and stay standing here, but Sky and Scroll are relentless. They desperately need to start factoring in some points, and every little bit counts. The knock is going to be secure, the elimination's going to fall through here, and now it's down to whether or not Sky and Scroll can really just manage to keep securing additional eliminations and a nice endgame run as a pair.
As that elim went through for Sky and Scroll, it looked like Cold in the feed actually took out Aoxy. So like you said, that's the full elimination. You know what? I just want to give a little bit of shouts and a little bit of credit to them. This is their first LAN event, right? So Aoxy's got a big smile on his face. Jojo looks a little timid, a little nervous. But unfortunately, he's not going to be smiling after that. When they get put on ice, they can still make a return, though, in the tournament, of course, as we have a lot of games in front of us, right? So don't feel like, you know, it's over just yet. But still, at the end of the day, you got to perform to the best of your abilities if you don't want to get your keys crushed here at the EWC 26. Furia, 916 is gone. Furia's Knight looking to earn more points for their team. Back to Peerless Peer. I actually like this. They pulled a zone over this way. They're going to get situated early, and that's a good spot to be in.
And what's also impressive is that when you think about how that very first lobby for going to Knight, and they were just kind of going through the blender, getting chased down nonstop, and ever since, and they were just kind of going through the blender, that very first, and in a very similar fashion to having a very unsuccessful early game, it just seems to give them all new kind of confidence, and they're just not suffering from the same sort of aggressive factors that they initially struggled with. And maybe that could be the turnaround for Sky and Scroll also. If they could just make it through towards at least 10th, 11th zone as a pair, that might just be the catalyst to really remind them of who they are and their true potential.
Yeah, I think the real problem is teams were not falling. I mean, we had a moment where there were so many teams alive, even if they were just fractured down to solos, and that just means you're not going to earn those placing points. I think it's around like 16th or 14th where it really starts to, you know, add up, but even then, things are really difficult. Well, take a look at the bigger picture here. Again, there are already 2 duos fully finished there. You can see from the overall wide picture there. Jumping to the new zone, though. Congestion starting to take place here. Team Furia looking to get into a fight. They are 5th place in the overall leaderboard at the moment. Truly representing for Furia. But still, they are, I'd say, gapped away, right? They need that big game to kind of get in the more cushion kind of room. They can kind of ease up a little bit, but that's what happens when you can win a round.
And to be fair, only a few more teams need to actually go down for those placement points start factoring in. Sure, it might be slim at only 3, 4, 15th and onwards, but it starts to accrue. It really starts to mount up here, and Sky Scroll fully aware of the fact that all eyes are on them in today's competition. But obviously, with the club championship picture overall, it is a team effort. So they know that if they're able to just kind of deliver it on the Fortnite front, it could go a long ways overall for Week 7 EWC.
Well, we heard the speech from Levin. We're getting towards that end game. This is where we'll see if the words of encouragement, the words of support from the fans and the coaches alike are gonna come through. Yuma, Coyote have the most interesting position here in this end game. That countdown is starting to happen here. Reboots are no longer active here, and now Swizzy and Pixie get the most primed opportunity to open fire onto Darm. Darm's out. Demis is right behind him, and there it is. Reboots are disabled. Skrull is the one who gets the elimination credit with Sky. That's going to be a full teammate taken out.
Wow, that was a big delivery, though, for Sky and Skrull. Anything that they might have been missing or hurting for, Teamish and Darm just handed right over, and it's partially due to some of that pressure coming out of Swizzy and Pixie, but hey, sometimes you're just in the middle, sandwiched between teams that are ready to just find those opening shots here. And for Sky and Skrull, 4 eliminations. They're starting to pick up the pace here. Signs of life towards the front side of zone. And look, I don't want to get ahead of myself, MDF, but this is the Sky and Skrull.
It's looking good. You can say it. You can say it. It's looking good. It's actually looking too good at this point in time. I don't know if I like it too much, as AGAL have so much pressure on them. But Mobsy on the other side looking pretty well here. Sky Scroll continuing to keep the pressure up, this time onto the French duo Mobsy. And of course, Sky jump there, end up pushing him down. See in the distance, again, still all of the notable names still up and running. Zone number 7 now is going to start officially closing here shortly. And this is where things get really difficult. This is where they haven't been able to put the pieces together, but so far, it's been the strongest game that we've seen from them.
I like the way, though, that Sky and Skrull were just so adamantly scanning the teams on the higher layers. It's obvious that they're going to have to start to make their next move, and they're going to continue to kind of wrap around the edge of zone. They want to try and secure another frontside position towards that ultimate low ground. It's where they feel the most comfortable, and they know that there's going to be a lot of familiarity if they're able to control that part of the zone. But obviously, Coyote, Yuma, way up above, starting to have a little bit of shakiness, but nothing too hard just yet that they can't contend with. And they'll actually make their next move towards the front side. Thought for a moment that they might have been softly chopped, but a little bit too based up, too secure.
Yeah, no, it was Team shockwaving past, almost hitting him with that mammoth pistol on the way by, but the tags didn't quite connect there. Meanwhile, GK's Japco ends up going down. We'll keep eyes on Zeta up top. That's an exciting duo, of course. But you still have Coyote here looking to defend it. Sky and Skrull go for the super pad up to the top. This could be their moment to siege height or just buy themselves some time and earn a little more points. Swizzy, though, from that last game victory, now having to play this one out by himself. From one champion to another, he's in a tough spot here. 200 mats left, 100 mats left. Things are starting to thin out. Things are starting to look bad for them. Pressure coming in from all angles here from Mobsy and Skyjump. And what a terrible zone pull. My gosh, it's going into the water. I hope you brought your swimsuit and your vest, because this one was so uncalled for.
Coyote and Yuma won't have any complaints just yet, though, but Sky, Skrull, they're ready to overtake. They're going to get a little bit chipped away at Force Shield, but Skrull immediately dropping, reuniting with Sky. With Swizzy so incredibly injured, only one build remains. He's going to be forced to play through the backside of zone, hoping that he's not on the receiving end of any big shots, but still, only a couple of overdrive grenades remain, and a whole lot of players in front of him as Coyote and Yuma just continue to assault these lower layers. Mini Pio and Fukuno, they could make things a little bit more interesting, but it's a big elimination duo. Swizzy, Pixie completely out of the picture. Cold and Rapid now have the chance to try and run away with it.
Yeah, I hope you didn't forget about them. They're still in this game. A lot of big names here. Kanata finds Salco in the feed there. Little friendly one-on-one 1-1 action from one West duo to another. 2 elims now for Kanata. Victor V down to the low ground. They've had some excellent frontside rotations, really taking charge here. Look at Kanata making the calls as Victor's here to back him up. Meanwhile, up top, the full connection has come through. The picture coming together. This is looking like Coyote and Yuma's game to win. Talk about throwing your way back into the competition. We said it before. It is so close at the kind of bubble area here for the qualification positioning. Meanwhile, Gone falls, Knight falls. They're done it now. Fukuda, Mini Pollo. What can they do here? As they're trying to stay alive. SAUL faded, still in the game. Little big tags coming in though. It's going back and forth here. They're all out of gas though. Faded goes down. Khan now is left by himself.
Yeah, you can tell these players are just running on fumes right now. And Khan, what more has he got left in the tank? Trying to see if he can keep it pushing, but with Momsy sky jump, racking up elimination, but Momsy taken out, loses track of what's taking place right behind them, and Sky, unfortunately, will be forced to try and contend through the rest of this mess, all by his lonesome, still picking up the pieces after the fact. Elimination onto Salvatore. The Siphon gonna buy him a little bit more time, but he's running out of builds at a rapid rate, and no puns intended because Cold and Rapid are running this lobby down.
That was big, and they just took down Victor V as well. 9 duos remaining here in the game. Couple solos kind of in the mix. Ianzo is one of those solos. No points earned on the eliminations just yet, but he's got decisions to make here. You have Spooks, Oatly putting pressure from up top. Shots are coming in. He gives up the layer, and he's just trying to survive here and go the distance. You blinked, and you missed it, though. Cold catches Kanata with a monstrous shot to keep him in the game now inside the top 8.
But Cold, will he even have a chance to try and restore some of his shield? He's just got to try and conceal his positioning for the time being. Spooks and Oatly still relatively healthy up above him, but Coyote and Yuma just haven't had anyone left to challenge them. They are way overhead where everybody else in this lobby is currently sitting. Acorn and Bolts directly underneath. Spooks and Oatly still trying to get the job done, but with Coyote and Yuma just so solid far and away from the rest of the competition, the players are going to thin the lobby out for them.
This is actually insane because if you think about it, coming in since Oatly and Spooks were in 8th place, Coyote and Yuma were in 9th place. Sky and Scroll, well, they were out of the tournament altogether, and now Sky is still going. 2 elims for him back to back. Can he get a third? Doesn't matter. Top 5 though is an excellent spot to be in. Oatly is playing so well himself. That's his 3rd elim in the endgame. Meanwhile, Acorn Bolts actually finding their footing down in the ultimate low ground. And Coyote and Zuma have finally given up that height. They're coming down for the win.
Finally, Skyjump's gonna get scouted out, but Coyote and Yuma, all they need is just to find where Bolts is at. It's going to be a little bit of a heel-off showdown here now, but Bolts realizes he doesn't have anything left. Yuma was trying to wait it out, but Bolts, what great awareness there. Immediately capitalizing on the opportunity. Strong victory royale for some of NA's best.
Not only that, both of those duos were in that sickness territory. You saw the HP falling super quickly. Bolts recognized it immediately, cancels the medkit, says, I gotta go for this. I can't stay here. And that was the difference maker for him.
Still a really strong showing though from Yuma and Coyote. Maybe mildly disappointed because they really looked like they were setting up for the perfect victory royale, but it's just so many points to accrue, and when you think about how many teams inside of that top 5 even were already being eliminated so early on, outside of Cold and Rapid, but more importantly still, AGAL, a little bit of relief because it might have been Sky as a solo, but it was still a top 5.
Look at Oatly cook as well. There's a shot from Bolts. You love to see it. Also afterwards, he was trolling, trying to act serious, but he was actually having a good time. He then loosened up there. Here's Victor V after that game. A big round for them nonetheless. They were relatively consistent. And you know what? I gotta say, I think the Levin speech was overall a huge success. I don't know if it was just meant to be, but Sky and Scroll definitely showed us a little bit of life. We threw them a lifeline, and they got pulled out from being deep in the water there. They're somewhat in the competition now, yeah, right? They're not down there in that 30-point range where we're just like scratching our heads saying, hey, what's going on?
It's just crazy, though, when you really boil it all down, because one solid endgame placement and a handful of eliminations really is enough to just leapfrog your way on the leaderboard. And sure, while they're not within that top 7 threshold just yet, they are still so much closer. And if they can keep finding those kinds of deliveries for overall point buildups, that's just going to put them in an excellent spot. But obviously, we've got another match to go before we reach the true halfway point on the day. So make sure to get a couple of refreshments, and we'll be right back.
Josh Riley is one of 2026's biggest new talents, and the Reload Elite Series qualifiers were his calling card. In late 2024, unknown player Josh first turned heads beating Clicks in a 1v1 to win a gaming PC. Now 2 years on, he's going head to head with the biggest Fortnite players in the world.
That moment was like the best moment of my career, I'd say. Like, I was playing on a laptop for like 2 years and like 300 earned. And like whenever I beat him, that was like one of the happiest moments of my life. I think it definitely helped me with like brand and like my story. But I think eventually I would have gotten that good, but it like definitely sped it up because I wouldn't have gotten a PC. So
in less than a year as a competitive Fortnite player, Josh has qualified for 3 FNCS Grand Finals. But the Reload Elite Series qualifiers are his biggest achievement yet.
Lands a big shot, but Josh is that much bigger. They take the game out of their hands.
It was a trial by fire, but Josh and teammate Iamzo rose to the challenge, taking second in 2 stacked NA Central lobbies to qualify for Paris.
We were playing for the qual to this. We were in the last game. We got a shockwave launcher. We were like 4th place, so in the qual. We shockwave launched Kanata into the air, who was in like 5th place, and we beat him. That was kind of guaranteed our qual, and it was just like, yeah, I was really excited.
Side angle, shockwave coming out from Josh, sends rapid packing.
For Josh, the Reload Championship is the biggest stage of his competitive career, an opportunity to show the world what they glimpsed during the qualifiers.
It'd just be a great experience, you know, like playing in Esports World Cup. But if I'm uncontested, I want to get like top 3. But if I'm contested, like, I think we can like pull it top 10. I'd be happy with that.
On the hunt for his first title, all eyes will be on Josh to see if he can deliver when it matters most.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen from around the world. Kelly Link here, joined by Mini Miner. We just wrapped up game number 4 for the Reload Elite Series, and this is Group 2. We gotta find 7 teams to go to the Grand Finals, and after game number 4, I feel like there's some teams that are kind of standing out right now.
Yeah, we got some amazing teams popping off right now. One that I want to mention, of course, Cold and Rapid. What a performance from these guys coming into today. I think we sort of anticipated a great performance, but coming from the EU region, I wasn't expecting this level, Kelly. You've watched them a lot, so is this the expectation we should have of them?
The absolute aggression that we're seeing, and we've seen some other teams popping off right now, but when we added, we're at the end of game number 3, I didn't see them in first place because I read the graphic wrong, and I was like, there's no way Cold and Rapid are in first, but of course they are. When they get all of those eliminations, whether it's from the low, mid, or even high ground, no one can stop them.
And the synergy that they seem to have as well in these layers, they're playing so well together. They seem to bounce off each other so well in these moments as well. Another team as well, Oatly, Spooks, a team that I really didn't expect too much from because of the fact we haven't seen them on a LAN yet. It was a bit of a question mark, right?
I never doubted you guys. I had you guys in first place the whole time. No, but there's a reason why they call him Goatly. He's been around the scene for so long, finally revealing his face to all of his fans and finally showing up. And no, like you said, I don't think a lot of people expected them to be as good as they are.
Just so calm when they're playing these end games as well. Monster was saying on the cast right there, he's just having fun, he's enjoying himself, Oatly, which is really interesting for your first LAN. It's a sort of a really great thing to see on this stage.
Yeah, I think it was after game 2 or game game 3 where they went down in either 3rd or 4th place, and he like was high-fiving and shaking his hands, where everyone else, even when they win, are just unbothered by it. He was so excited to be able to make it into the end game, and then he does it again.
Yeah, a little subtle diss onto Sharkantini right there. We didn't see a reaction from them all weekend yet, but we should see that, of course, coming soon. Of course, we cannot come up here on this stage and not talk about Skyjump and Momsy. What a performance.
Any fans of Skyjump and Momsy in here? Just a few.
Yeah,
just a few.
Yeah, one or two. I mean, these guys, they always show up when the pressure is on. If that's something we've learned from EU, they're showing it here again today. Picking up that first game victory, it's like almost the perfect story. And then even Swizzy and Pixie, a team from the French team as well. This is exactly what we want to see here on the stage.
And we want to see exactly more of this in the next 6 games, Skyjump, Momsy, everyone that we have, and we have more action coming your way, so don't go anywhere.
Hope you guys enjoyed that little bit of downtime. Definitely some hype in the crowd here as we got a nice pop for, of course, Skyjump and Momsy. Man, what a pleasure the tournament has been so far. And this is the last match now of this map, though, Taco. So, hey, if you've been having a hard time here, well, guess what? The pain's almost over.
But look, it's been such a ping-pong effect on the leaderboard in terms of where the top 7 cutoff is actually going to be held. Yeah. Right now, we currently see it for Khan and Faded. Victor V, Kanata, just slightly pushed out from being inside of that top 7 threshold, but already so much of the club championship points, as well as just these leaderboard standings overall, shifting between every single lobby. There is practically no guarantees, even though we're approaching the halfway point, outside of the fact that Swizzy and Pixie for Team Havoc, and then obviously Cold and Rapid for Twisted Minds, having the performance of their lives here in Group B.
Yeah, they definitely seem to be the shoe-in duos here, but hey, we know that stranger things have happened in the past. And it's gotten actually a lot closer, right? 2nd and 3rd place between Momsy and Skyjump are actually neck and neck pretty much game. Meanwhile, overall points, which is really interesting. Then you start looking down towards that bubble line, Acorn and Bolts, where they were pushed out because of one bad game. Now they're back in the conversation for the first time, though. Oatly and Spooks are inside that top 7. This is exciting here. Match number 5 of the Elite Stronghold is kicking off, and we're off to a hot start. Unfortunately, Joe goes. Spooks there couldn't quite get those points he was looking for. This has been the strength of this duo, is trusting in Spook's performance in the early game, but right now it's Salvatore who's like, wait a second, we need to get back in this tournament.
And this is honestly kind of a nice little resurgence out of Salvatore and Yasin, the original starting point of the day. You know, they haven't been doing horribly by any means. Their worst placement being 11th, but you're just going to need to have a lot more top 5 consistency if you really want to consider yourself a little bit more safe. But they have been making headway in terms of getting closer and closer to that top 7 position.
Yeah, most definitely. All things considering, they are flying back up. Here's a little update back to the Chisel Cube. Swizzy and Pixie have no longer been dropping aggressively. Now they're just kind of easing up here. They're like, all right, we got our lead. We just got to make end games, kind of keep doing what we're doing, and the rest should be history. Meanwhile, get to look at, again, a little bit of that start of the round here, what it means for VSN Salvatore and his duo. This is allowing them to really be inside the top 10 just after those couple of eliminations being secured there. Then they get another one onto Toyota right afterwards. So teams got to be careful not to be fully eliminated at this point. MHND finally earning themselves a little bit more points, given that they have had the toughest time this evening for the AHL club. Victor V, Kanata in an early fight here. Victor losing to Salvatore, but I don't blame him. Salvatore is just firing up right now as he is quite literally crashing on the lobby, playing absurdly well.
Yeah, Salvatore, who are you feeling like? Because he is doing his own thing right now, but that was also kind of a rare miss out of Victor V. But Salvatore, he's not done just yet. MHND might just be next in line to be added to the count here. Salvatore hunting for his 6th, and never mind, he might even be able to secure a 7th should he get the elimination onto MHND. Snow maybe even considering, should I even try and poke my head forward, gauge whether or not I can get a nice little shot in on Salvatore's feet. But Salvatore, just on his own kind of warpath, 6 eliminations, and he's not done.
It's like he's living up to the name. Just popping off right now. 6 elims, putting his team on his back here. That is the type of hero's effort we need to see from players if you want to go straight to the finals. And look, now he is in contention at 9th place, just a singular point behind Victor V and Kanata there, jumping up to 16 overall active eliminations.
Look, they tried to play the concise, calculated Fortnite, but they've been seeing what Cold and Rapid have been getting up to, and they decided, why not look to just handle our own affairs here? Pretty solid showing, though, out of Khan getting good elimination onto Cold, but Sky and Squirrel can't forget about what just happened for them in that last lobby. The top 5, the signs of life. Will it actually be the catalyst, though, for these two to really carry over into a strong close for this tournament?
Yep, Yuma and Koyota, not the strongest start as they were eliminated pretty early, but they jump back in, they find a... Not the strongest start as they were eliminated pretty early, but they jump back in, they find a... Not
about handle our own Cold and Rapid and pretty...
There, jumping up to 16 overall active. He is in... It's like he's living up to the name. Just... That is still showing to how good he has been able to perform here. And what a find. Hey, sometimes you need a little RNG, you know?
Might need to transform that Flowberry Fizz into some bandages. Some whites could go a long way for this man, especially when he's being hunted out by Zeta Division. But revisiting Cold and Rapid, so a little bit of early hiccups, nothing to deter them just yet, though, from this aggressive playstyle that they had been manifesting all tourney long. And right here, right now, Cold seeking out a good opening shot against the likes of Josh and Iyamsa, who are desperately in need of converting this match for the halfway point exactly into a nice placement finish, because they've got to start really bouncing their way up the leaderboard.
Yeah, being in 110 halfway through, you know, it's not too bad, but it is not great, that's for sure. 2 eliminations this game, though. That's a good start here for the tournament. 19 duos remaining, 7 and AXA being the first and only duo to have been eliminated so far. We've had some close calls for a few others, but nothing yet as we save that. See the replay there as Yuma finds another elim. If these elims keep racking up, they are going to get a comfortable lead up onto Skyjump and to Momsy. That'll keep things interesting for us there. Meanwhile, Anon Vazin on the move right here. Saw Kanata find a little elimination there in the feed.
This is really awkward.
Uh-oh.
Anon knew it. He's never able to consider himself as safe. Spooks also suffering elsewhere on the map. Enact and Salco immediately looking to close in and capitalize on additional elimination points here. But not only that, Gone Knight kind of scrambling here temporarily. Gone and Knight being so split from each other, and Gone not trying to reveal anything just yet, but doesn't get the shot he needed. So Enact and Salco will strike yet again for a second elimination here.
Very nice elimination there. Continuing to earn points. This is really bad for Victor V, though. He's got Conch pushing from one side, faded on the other. Victor V is very hurt here. Just lost the wall. Kanata's here to back him up, and then all of a sudden I see Twisted Minds, Cold and Rapid there in the distance. They put their influence on the mix. They find an elim, and it's all-out warfare here as they jump into the fight. Quite literally bailing out, maybe saving even Kanata and Victor V.
From hunter to hunted, Khan now having to conceal himself as much as he possibly can, but Kanata, he's definitely got an inkling of an idea of where Khan might actually be at, and he's looking to get a little taste of revenge here for all the time that Faded and Khan had sort of expended, holding Victor V and himself at bay. Now they refuse to let Khan get out of dodge on this one, just continuing to kind of chase him around, and Khan really forced to expend so much of his material, and even worse still, Cold Rapid, they are nowhere near done with chasing out Faded.
There it is, Kanata and Victor V securing their third elimination, both landing monstrous pump shots, and they are back in the conversation here. What points are they at? They're at 133. 147 is where Faded and Khan are, so this is a very telling battle of your immediate competition. Faded falls on the other side. Khan's already been taken out, so this is now going to be an even more difficult situation for them to kind of claw back in as we're getting into the late stages of the game. Oatly and Spooks are also at that 147 point area.
It's just incredible, though, that Cold and Rapid decided to play a little bit of third-party intervention and how quickly something can go south that once initially looked so promising. But it looks like the Jogo fella is getting a little bit of revenge on Enact and Salco. Sure, they might have cleaned up Spooks earlier on, but just saw Oatly lighting up that elimination feed with a clean pickoff onto Enact. And right now, as you can see, only one duo that's been fully eliminated as of yet, Seven and AXA, and that's going to be, I think, a lot of motivation for those teams that are currently inside the bottom three. Salco, Enact, Aoxy, and Jojo Fishy. It's a very tall task to ask, but Salco and Enact specifically might have a chance to jump up quite a bit and close that gap.
Yeah, anyone can still get back into the tournament. A win is worth 60 points, mind you, right? So any real end game with a couple elims, this whole entire story will turn around and someone else will be in a dangerous position. The worst, honestly, is AHL, Snow, and MHND. They're going to have a really tough time, given that they're about 2 games away from being out of the danger zone. For Khan, though, take a look at the highlights there. He finds Japco. Wow, STC replay there was just excellent. That's how they're earning their points here on the tournament.
It's like also looking at the fact that he went from 0 builds to practically 5-5-5. A little bit of a huge come up there. But again, even when you have those small victories, it's about stringing together enough of them to really put yourself in contention for having a solid end game run. Right now, kind of witnessing that brief resurgence from Sky and Scroll. AGAL definitely looking on towards this duo and really hoping that they're going to continue catapulting themselves forward in this competition. It's not easy, though, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, look, what he's doing right now is telling us that they're just trying to stay warmed up. They need to. They're in 15th place right now, 101 points. They had a good previous round. They have a long, long way to go. Talk about long ways to go. Cold and Rapid taking a long rotate here. Going for a little bit more of a passive positioning as well. To opt to play for these exotic chests that, of course, are back into the rounds.
Nice little stash of loot, though. Cold and Rapid have managed to stumble upon. Not too surprised either, seeing them willing to tank a little bit of these early storm takes, because like you'd already mentioned, it does put them in a very strong positional kind of section. And now Darm, Deemish, 6 eliminations, by the way. Definitely trying to make up for some lost time here. Not happy with the way that they've had some earlier than intended departures in previous lobbies, and fully understanding of the fact that they just don't want to have to worry about making it through on the survival day 3. They want to close it out with a solid performance in Group B.
Yeah, and it sounds like the reboots are now closed. That countdown already going through. While that was happening, Salvatore and Yasin's aggression comes to an end in 9th overall there. You can see if the names are fully crossed out, they are now eliminated from the tournament. It couldn't be a worse time either, as we were just getting into zone number 7. Touching base with Cold and Rapid. Was it worth going into the storm? I mean, absolutely. They seem to be pretty decently set up right now, but they got a long way to go. Yuma and Koyota might have also just fully fallen in 5th place there. That's going to be very, very devastating to their overall consistency right now. There's no way they stay inside the top 7 at this point. It is just too close.
You never know, though. They were able to secure a couple of eliminations, so that might just be enough to still keep it close at at the very least, Swizzy, Pixie, it looks like some of their earlier passiveness has definitely boded pretty well for them currently, but that's only if they don't find themselves getting unexpectedly addressed on. Doesn't seem like Minipio and Cocoon are all that interested though in getting involved just yet, as Kanata, Victor V, 3 eliminations to boot. They're fully understanding that their sole mission right now is to net that strong endgame placement and really start to make Dignitas' presence known.
You saw how hesitant they were to walk through those builds there, really making sure they have full control of things. Momsy Skyjump starting to get active now though. The opposite placed out here as they're fighting for some loot, fighting for the refresher. Here's a team that doesn't have a lot of builds here, and even them making sure that they do not get themselves edited on or caught out of position. Was it worth it? Surely. They just picked up about 200 mats, so not too bad. Couple heals as well to go the distance here. Could be the difference maker. Meanwhile, Pixie and Swizzy for Club Havoc looking very, very good right now. Once again, defining themselves as the high ground duo.
And this is also going to kind of shape the rest of this lobby too, because the one time that we haven't seen Swixy and Pixie in control of height, that's been really the only time where we saw Toyota and Yuma really had that opportunity to just net a strong endgame performance, since nobody else is really looking to challenge. It's evident that Swizzy and Pixie exclusively want to lead on the high ground, and for Rapid and Cold, disaster might have finally struck the pair, because it's only Rapid that's left standing. Cold at least managed to get 2 eliminations along the way, but this is the first time that we're really seeing these guys look so injured.
And also, Hughes and Darp down and out as well, as they were so close to top 7. They're going to start slipping down the leaderboards as well. Everything is now starting to change here as the points are looking to start taking place. I see Skyfall there as well, unfortunately. So this is going to start mixing things up. It's all going to be up to Scroll here. Give him a second. Let's see what he can do. He's by himself. He's putting pressure onto Faded and Khan, really just trying to defend for himself now. He's got enough to work with though. Full team below him. Jojo, Fishy, Aoxy make the edit. He's got to go as well. 5 shockwaves to work with. There's not one smarter that can play these rotates. We've already seen him do it earlier today here in game number 1.
But still, doing it one more time, it is just so overwhelming, the amount of pressure that must be on Scroll's shoulders currently, and knowing that there are so many other healthy teams, but Pixie, Swizzy, they might be changing that up. Yapko Panzer, it's the right intention, but Pixie and Swizzy are not giving them a whole lot of airspace as they make their next move, still managing to be strong contenders of the high ground. No one's able to realistically challenge them yet. Yogo, Spooks, and Oatley having a little bit of a tough time securing that secondary height layer, but Momsy and Skyjump inside of the low ground, and Momsy just can't make his way through. He gets caught for a moment, and that's all it takes for the lobby to dish him out.
So right now, Skyjump has to stay up and do something. Kanata, Victor V earning points here on the low ground too. Already 12 duos remaining. Placement points are starting to add up. Victor gets the secured elim there. That's going to be 5 for them here and now, and they don't have any builds to work with. Kanata's only got 3. Rapid's going to be the target of focus here. They almost secure that elim. Little do they know, I think Scroll was still in the storm. He's just tanking here, barely makes it in. Somehow he's better off than they are.
It's crazy though, just how rapidly his build actually dwindled, and Scroll, he recognizes there's a little bit of a loop ball behind him, but he doesn't have the chance to go for it just yet. Too many players surrounding him. Cone maybe going to get an opening shot here, but no, Scroll prioritizing this frontside ultimate low position. He feels like that's where it'll be best for him to try and hedge his bets and just concealing himself as much as he can. Best for Scroll prioritizing this frontside behind him, but he doesn't have the chance to go for it just yet. Too many players. He's able to get the siphon materials, and now one more time on the low.
Such a huge elim, and I was looking at how close he was to top 7. Everyone now is getting crunched down into the standings there. Oatley and Spooks are down and out as well. Josh and Iamzo are flying their way back up, but Scroll is the most important player here in the lobby with the most critical clutch that he needed to get out of the dangerous territory of being down at the key crushing ceremony. Bolton Acorn as well find their way back into the tournament. Up scroll goals. That might have been a mistake. He will be frozen in third, but what a performance. Mini Payo as well is still in this game. These are huge, important games for these teams.
Acorn and Bolts, though, they're looking to try and see if they can secure the halfway victory royale. Maybe a Cocoon directly underneath. Acorn Bolts finally looking to drop, but Acorn Bolts, they don't have any builds. Only one remains for the pairing. Cocoon, Minifio also running on the last of their resources. Bolts and Acorn from overhead, trying to see if they can get an advantageous shot, but the preservation by Minifio and Cocoon, they are stalemating this one temporarily, looking to get into the healthiest state possible. Cocoon manages to heal just a moment longer. Can't connect the shot though. That's what Bolts does best. The accuracy is just overwhelming right now. But both Acorn and Bolts finally gonna find a little bit of an exchange, and it's Minifio and Cocoon who managed to find the victory royale.
And what a game that was. Back into the tournament. They rise. A huge round. Look at the emotion coming out of them right now. They're feeling good. What a way to really stamp yourself through that map and close out your first half. 5 games. It took them 5 games, but finally now they get a small taste of what it's like to be in the lead.
It's a little bit topsy-turvy, and it's also just so difficult to see too, MDF, some of the player cam panovers, because we're witnessing the celebrations out of the lives of Minifio and Cocoon, but then we're also getting those direct shots of the duos that are currently inside of that bottom 3 threshold, and it's a tough spot to be in, but that's what makes instances like what Minifio and Cocoon were able to really just break through after they found some earlier success with a nice endgame placement, getting themselves out of that danger zone, and now this win comfortably putting them well above that scary part of being inside the bottom 3.
Yeah, what's wild about it is when you look back at it, they had such an advantage, but Acorn and Bolts fought so well. Bolts finding one. He nearly clutched this up. Both of these individual players were just a shot away from it going either way, but in the end they did need it more. They were further down the standings, and now they get to stay and compete amongst the top. Oh, you can just see the emotion from others that didn't quite perform the way they expected. Even there, just really tough. You know, you have these 5 games. You understand that you had an opportunity and that you might have come up short there. But it's all good. We still have a lot more Fortnite ahead of us. It's really wild, 10 games, how much you really get out of it. The best will eventually flow to the top.
But it is still just such a rough state to be in. Yapko Panzer, you absolutely hate to see him in that kind of position. But then again, when you look at the likes of Sky and Scroll. Scroll, yet again, top 3 placement. And just when they need it most, because now things are going to start transitioning over to the Slurp Rush. But when you're able to actually get that little bit of rhythm going, it just is such, I think, a mental boon for that duo, because clearly the earlier game instances, you know, you can kind of just brush those off a lot easier now. And Scroll, just what a crazy flow state he hit at the very end of that last lobby.
Yeah, I was trying to see, like, overall, you know, he went from being nearly out of the tournament altogether to tying up with Furia's Knight Gone. And that's going to put him around the 150 point-ish threshold. He's basically neck and neck with from himself all the way up to those that are in 7th. So it does seem like the story really has began to turn around. And everyone in between there, Koyota Yuma, Knight Gone, Josh Yamzo, Victor V. Kanata, and then the line, the bar is Oatly and Spooks. It is just that close.
I don't know how many people would have necessarily anticipated this top 10 to be as close as it is. And the reason why I'm expanding it towards that top 10 is because, like you already highlighted, the numbers are just too close. But obviously, all eyes have been on AGAL for good reason here today. And we've even got Barney standing by with Sky and Scroll.
Welcome back to the Gadia City Grid. I've got Scroll from AGAL joining me now. Scroll, before today, we had the opportunity to have a quick chat backstage. Now, aside from the fact that if you added yours and Sky's age together, I'm still older. That's extremely embarrassing. Apart from that, we talked about the improvements you guys have made over the past year. You guys are playing incredibly well. It seems like your synergy, your game sense, you guys basically have one brain. Today has been a bit of a tougher start to the day. I think you'd agree. What are some of the issues that you guys are running into? Is something just not quite clicking?
I feel like right now we're just trying to see how the lobby moves, and then we're trying to fit into the lobby. But it's really hard for us right now. But I feel like we're starting slowly to get in form again.
Do you think it's like, obviously you guys are so dominant in BR, in the main Battle Royale, and obviously coming into Reload, everything is slightly different, the pace is slightly different as well. Is that something that you guys are having to adapt to, or is that something you typically have on lock?
Yeah, we for sure have to adapt to that, because like we're used to control everything, but now we just need to control what we can control and then work from there.
I like that. You've got a good head on your shoulders, I gotta say. Do you feel like you can pick this up and get some momentum now towards the end of the day?
Yeah, for sure. We are gonna go crazy the next 5 games. I'm not even worried about that.
I love that. I love that confidence. That's right. Let's hear it for AGAL. Scroll, thank you so much for joining me in this interview. Your mum's in the stands cheering you on, and that's what we love to see here at EWC as well. Back to you guys.
Everyone is playing, you're not yet. EWC Play is your all-in-one platform to compete in fantasy, pick'em, and quests for a grand total of $300,000 in prize pool. Build your dream fantasy team in 5 different games and track your score with live results tables. Predict the winner of every game, every group stage, and every tournament. Complete daily and weekly challenges to earn boosters that help you climb the global leaderboard. Got what it takes? Join EWC Play now.
What's going on, Fortnite fam? We have none other than Cold and Rapid. You know them, you love them, guys. What is going on? How's it feel? You're here on LAN. How are the vibes?
Feels great, you know. We look forward to this every single year, and just being here feels great.
It feels great. It feels good to be back on LAN.
I love that. So, guys, let's talk about a little bit about the elephant in the room, okay? So you guys performed super well. You guys qualified for EWC, and then you split up. And now you're finding yourselves back together again. So what led up to the split up?
I'd say it's just like a compatibility thing, you know, like I feel like me and Rich are just a better fit than me and Rapid. Not that, no shade towards Rapid, of course. Great player here, but I just feel like I fit better with Rich.
How do you feel about that, Rapid?
Yeah, I agree with what he said.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it, guys. Listen, obviously, another elephant in the room. You guys are crushing it on the leaderboard. You guys are in first place by a ton of points. And honestly, the biggest factor of that, Cold is just crushing it individually on the elimination leaderboard. Like, you're like above 20. Second place is like barely crossing that 10 mark. What do you attribute to that? Like, how are you finding all these elims?
It's just what I do, you know. I'm the best fragger in this game. I tell you guys that every year, and I'm here to show that.
And listen, obviously, you know, Rapid, everybody who loves your IGL in the game, they contributed to one of the best IGLs in the region. How are you putting Cold in a position to find all those eliminations? Or is it like one of those things where Cold is just kind of going off and finding them?
I'd say it's a bit of both. Like, I'm just tarping way more because Cold just eliminates everybody. Like, he just spawns in eliminations, and I'm just tarping. It's really easy.
Nice, yeah, it's looking easy for you guys.
It looks so, I'm telling you that anytime we see you guys play, I feel like it's just such a fun moment because you guys you have like this natural swagger about how you guys kind of go into these games. Like, yeah, we watch Peter Poyo, it's very clinical. They kind of go in, they get these eliminations, they move on. But anytime we see you guys play, it just feels like something special, something maybe a little bit different. What is that? What's the secret sauce?
Just to have fun. We're not taking it too serious. Just having fun, like taking game by game, and
What do you attribute to that, Rapid? What's the secret sauce?
A lot of preparation and game plan, I'd say. Just having fun.
All right, let's talk about the second half of the competition, right? We're halfway through. You guys are pretty much almost already qualified if we take a look at how many points it took yesterday. So what's going to be the game plan for the next 5 games?
Just get as many eliminations as possible.
All right, elims are on the mind. Cold, what do we feel?
Have fun.
Just have fun. All right, there it is.
Do you guys feel like you maybe resonate better with Stronghold or Slurp Rush, or where are we guys at?
I'd say Slurp Rush is our better map, but I mean, you guys saw how we played on the first map, so.
What do you think, Rabbit?
100% Rush. Stronghold's not that good.
I like that. One more final question for you guys. Obviously, the vibes are super up. You guys have to be thinking about finals at this point, right? If you make it to finals, is there a duo you hope you could take it to a final 2v2 for the victory royale?
I say Oli and Spooks.
Yo, they've been going kind of crazy, right? Oli's kind of going crazy.
Yes, I don't know. It's a movie.
It's a movie. Rabbit?
100% Oli or Muga.
Oh, wow. I love that. Well, guys, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate you. Best of luck in that second half of the competition. Let's kick it back over and see what else is going on in the competition.
Human body was built to move. Not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you, gamers, hybrid workers, artists, backing your every move.
Hello and welcome everyone. I'm here with Sky and Scroll from AGAL, and we're gonna find out how well do you guys know your teammate? How well do you think you know your teammate?
Pretty good.
Yeah, do you feel the same?
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are coming off of back-to-back major wins, so I feel like there's obviously a lot of teamwork and a lot of synergy going on, but we're gonna find out how well they actually know each other. And we're gonna start it off with something simple, okay? Sky, you're gonna tell me, what do you think Scroll's favorite weapon is that's currently in competitive Fortnite?
I'm just gonna say a gold pump.
Hey, what did you put down? The gold pump, let's go. All right. Now, Scroll, you're gonna answer, what is Sky's favorite competitive season of all time? Chapter 6, Season 1, last season. So not the same. So why last season?
I feel like last season was just going so perfect with everything, so might be the one. Yeah.
Sky, what is Scroll's favorite item currently in competitive Fortnite? All right, at the same time, Shockwaves, Fizz. Okay, I feel like together they're kind of so. Why'd you say Shockwaves?
We've won back-to-back just with Shockwaves, so it was pretty like one of the obvious answers.
But you said Fizz.
Yeah, I was thinking about that one as well, but I feel like Fizz is just like a good item for everything.
What is Sky's best memory of you guys playing together? First,
FNCS one.
Oh, first, and then what is? Hey, first grand one. Let's go. So, Scroll, I'm going to ask you, what is Sky's favorite outfit in Fortnite? Same time. 1, 2, 3. The Lara Croft zombie.
Yes,
okay.
it's a zombie superhero skin. So I thought it was.
If Scroll wasn't your teammate, who would you pick? All right. If Sky couldn't play with Scroll, he would play with Shark. Ah, what a surprise. What do you think Sky's favorite hobby is outside of Fortnite? What does Sky like to do when he's not playing Fortnite?
I mean, that's outside with dogs.
So you have dogs?
Yeah, I have two.
Oh, so Sky, who does Scroll think your biggest competitive rival is? Let's reveal the answers on 1, 2, 3. Oh, Peterbot. Who could have guessed? What is Scroll's most used emote? Every time you win, every time you eliminate someone, what does he do? He does a dance on them?
I don't know any names. I mean, I'll just say like...
Point the axe. And then pickaxe emote. Yeah, that works.
Okay.
Let's go. What's Sky's bedtime?
Bedtime. I feel like Scroll should like pretty much know this.
Okay. So So what time do you usually go to bed? 1 a.m.? And wow.
Yeah.
Well, looks like Sky and Scroll know each other pretty well. We're gonna have to see how that synergy is in the battle bus as well. But for right now, guys, that's gonna be it for us. We'll see you next time.
Welcome to the side of stage where we are live right now with the Fortnite Reload Championship at the Esports World Cup. My name is Barney and I've got Papa V joining me. How's it going, dude? Your son, Victor V, is currently competing on the main stage. It's day 2, Group B. How's he getting on? Is he doing well?
Well, yeah, I think he's doing well. I mean, I know he has to get a little bit of the nerves out. Oh, I do at least, because I'm really nervous, to see him up there. I'm proud of him, but I think, 10 games is enough to let the best Victor V come out.
I like that. I'm a dad, by the way, so I've got a young son. I'm doing this thing where I have a lot of dad chats with parents in the audience, and I'd love to get some perspective from you as a parent of a child who's thriving in an esport that's so incredible, so large scale. Talk to us about what it's like being a dad, seeing your son competing on the main stage for all this money and all this pressure as well.
Well, for me, I know we only got a short time, so I'm gonna just try to stick to some key points because this deserves a whole
podcast.
Yeah, 100%. But I would say to all you parents, get behind your children, help them out. Do more than just let them play and just say, I let them play. Support them like you would support a kid that was an elite basketball player or an elite swimmer or a soccer player. You would take them to practice all the time. When they don't feel like going to practice, you will make them practice. You will help them with the discipline. Support them in that same mannerism because this sport is to be respected. So that's what I want for all you parents to do. Give them that same support so these kids can really follow their dreams.
Yeah, let's talk about that structure because, esports is now a viable option for a lot of children growing up. And then you have a lot of kids maybe at home that are watching this with their parents and they're aspiring esports athletes. Maybe they're honing in on a game. Maybe that game is Fortnite as well. What was your approach, when the days were tougher for Victor, maybe when he didn't want to practice like you said and you encouraged him to? Tell us about your structure at home and how, he's now thriving. I'm guessing a lot of that is due to you as a parent as well.
Well, I happen to be a coach as well. So, coaching is what I do. So when Vic first told me he wanted to be a professional Fortnite player, I kind of laughed. But it was around the same time that Booger won $3 million. And luckily he won that $3 million because had he not won, I would have looked at Fortnite like a game like most other parents look at it. So since I said, people can actually make a living off of this. He won $3 million playing a video game. So then I started doing, looking into it, and then saw how much it took, how much work it took, and how much dedication these kids were actually putting into this game without the help of their parents. Imagine what these kids would do with a structured program and the help behind them. They would be amazing. They're already amazing, but imagine what they could do with the parental help.
I love that. Wise words from Papa V. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know that Victor is currently playing right now, so you can go and watch. But thank you so much for all the parents and the kids out there. Listen to Papa V. The advice is golden. Back to you guys.
Box fighting lessons? That's perfect. I've been needing to brush up on my box fighting. Hello? Is this where the box fighting is? Oh.
In the red corner.
Monster? Oh.
What were you up to, Glitter?
Well, see, what had happened was I was looking for some box fighting lessons, and I think there might have been a miscommunication along the way. I don't know how I got there, but I honestly blame Monster. I don't know what he was doing as the voice.
Okay, all right. Well, actually, since we have here, welcome back, everybody, to Fortnite Reload Championship at EWC 26. I'm joined by none other than Taco. Taco, shout out to you because you went from casting 5 games to you're like, I want to be part of this, and we're going to have some fun. So stay tuned for that. We're joined by Levin as well. That coach talk ended up working out. We'll get a chance to break that down later on. But since we have you, Glitter Explosion, I want you to give us an update with what's going on with Club Championship.
Good thing you're asking because there's a lot happening today that I wasn't necessarily prepared for. If we take a look at CS2, thank you, Seven, for handing this over. CS2, big news in CS2. Na'Vi out, which means they're pretty much mathematically out of the top in the running for the CC leaderboard. They needed to get a good finish there because they didn't have a lot of titles left. We can't really focus on them anymore. However, on the flip side of things, Falcons are through, Vitality are through. This is big for them into the top 8. That means they've both guaranteed points now for their clubs on the board. But if we move on over to Crossfire, we mentioned it earlier in case you missed it, Falcons are out. They cannot get points in Crossfire, no longer in the running. AGAL had made it into top 8, but they are currently 1-1 in a best of 3, which is completely unexpected for the defending champs in Crossfire. We're gonna have to see how it all plays out, but it's looking a little bit scary over there, Seven.
We might need to end up cloning Levin so he can go have just coach talks with everybody, because you know what, let's actually take a second to talk about that, Levin. We were joking about it. He ended up working out yesterday. He ended up working out once again. AGL was able to step it up after that talk from you.
Yeah, I'm going to take all the credit, as I should. And look, if they need some help over in Crossfire, like I said yesterday, you guys know where to find me. Send the contract. We're going to have to double it up, though. 2 games means double the finances there. I mean, look, it was only a matter of time for them to start to heat up a bit. And I think especially if things don't go their way in Crossfire, they're definitely going to be relying on that Fortnite duo to really step things up.
I feel like we got a bit of what we saw yesterday out of Falcons. Maybe not exactly the exact same thing, Taco, because Falcons was able to wake up much earlier than AJL, but it's good to see a team of that caliber being able to bounce back. Now it's time for them to push up to the top 7.
Right. Sky and Scroll are fully aware of the fact, too, that they've really got to hit it in overdrive and get the hustle on. But again, after Coach Levin's speech, we've seen these guys with back-to-back top 5 placements. So they are starting to make a little bit of a jump effect in the leaderboard, but definitely still a long ways to go. And they are adamant on trying to secure their spot in finals.
Levin, I just want to know if you are, what's your rate for motivational speeches? Can I come to you when I need them in my day-to-day life?
Yeah, I mean, look.
Think about that, okay?
I do personalized packages, you know what I'm saying? So you come to me, whatever challenge it is you're trying to overcome, we can price accordingly. Don't you worry.
All right.
I got you.
We get that friend discount, right? Nope, that's a no.
Best friend discount.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Besties, man. Come on. Yeah, of course.
I thought you were about to hit us with the big no. I thought you were about to hit us with about that money, baby. You ain't getting no discounts. But today we actually got something special for both of you. Yesterday we got a chance to do build your perfect Fortnite character. This time, Glitter, what we're gonna be having them do is we're gonna be having them cast something that happened in the first 5 matches in a certain voice.
Wait, when you say a certain voice, what does that exactly include?
And I'm gonna think about it.
Yeah, what does
and you know what? We're gonna pivot from this. We're gonna pivot from this. I just thought about it, and I realized that we might want to save that for survival.
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, all right.
I'm a fan.
Give me a chance to warm up the car.
Yeah. I'll give you a bit of a buffer. And I'm gonna just start mixing it up here. Don't worry. Don't get scared.
Okay. I'm getting nervous.
I got scared.
You know, not every surprise is a good one.
This one is going to be a great one.
Okay.
What was it that you said AGL was going to finish on in the last game? On actually after you talked to them?
Well, I said in the next game they'll get 3rd place, but they'll finish 3rd on the day. I do want to shout out Kelly, because Kelly said they're going to get 5th place, and in that game they got exactly 5th place.
Okay, because, I mean, at the top of show when we were talking to Kelly and Jacob, they said they could take the whole thing home.
I think we all thought that. But,
yeah.
Not quite been
They
the
were
best
giving
day.
it that gas to me too. I thought so too, and then we kind of it didn't happen that way. Now, Taco, I know when I threw it to you, you were casting. Did you end up saying a match? I mean, did you end up saying a placement?
I never gave a placement because I like to see the way that the game actually goes. I did call your first place call out. That was a bit ambitious.
It was
on the day.
Very.
A bit ambitious.
No, I was like, surely he's not going to say 1st place, right? And he just kept ramping. I'm like, is he not saying 1st place? And then he said 1st place, and I was like, let's talk about pressure. I mean, I'm a coach. I'm not a wizard, man. I can't make magical things happen. Either way, you know, they still had a good game, so.
I'm a full believer in you,
Yes.
okay? I'm just saying, that graphic looked amazing. Wait until you see what we're cooking for tomorrow. But talking about the overall, the team that's currently in 1st place, Twister, right? Today has been insane out of them.
Absolutely.
And honestly, just to jump in from a CC side of things as well, they might not be in like our top 4 right now, but they are a team that's completely CC eligible. So if they're able to do solid performance here, get through to finals, and make it to top 8, there's actually prize pool money difference that they are playing for their club that's still on the line.
No, honestly, I think, you know, if I'm twisted, I'm probably frustrated that we didn't have Fortnite earlier on in the EWC process, just because I think, you know, Rapid and Cold as a duo is unbelievable, and they're the type of team that their performance could have inspired, I think, some of the other Twisted teams throughout the club championship to actually just step up a level, right? I think it's probably come a bit too late for them, but I think it'll be a nice finish for Twisted Minds. It'll give them that boost that they need on the club championship leaderboard there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just really excited to see whether or not Cold and Rapid can just kind of continue to carry with this momentum. We know that they're looking to finish strong on the day, an arguably more favorable map for them too with Slurp Rush, and they've already been tearing up the competition on the elite map, so it's going to be tough for anybody to overthrow them in that first place, but I'm right there with you, Lev. It's just a bit unfortunate that Twisted Minds didn't get to kind of have this rally cry behind them sooner.
If you guys were to pick a certain team, a certain duo to be able to overpass them, which one comes to mind?
Ooh, does it have to be from Group B or like just in general?
From the teams playing right now.
From the teams today.
I jumped the gun on that one. I was all Swizzy Pixie. Look, it's hard not to get excited though from what we've been witnessing out of Havoc's team, because Swizzy and Pixie have just looked phenomenal. They've been doing such a phenomenal job, specifically at holding down that high ground section, and they've just made it so complicated for anybody else actually participating in the lobby. So it's exciting stuff, and we know that Swizzy and Pixie are definitely a high caliber duo that can also deliver on good eliminations.
For sure.
You're lucky right now we're not on camera, Glitter. That's why we're looking at some of those bottom teams on your screen, and I gotta get closer because I'm absolutely blind. Seven, my guy, remember at one point they were towards the top, especially after that first match. I
think you could argue he's living up to the name.
Oh. Just being short.
I don't mean that. No, I don't mean that. No, I mean,
that's your twin out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, but I think we saw yesterday, right? You can have one big game and it just sort of takes you away from that bottom part of the leaderboard, and at least it leaves you in a situation where tomorrow in Survival Day you don't feel as bad about how you played, you know, on your group. So hopefully it's a similar story for your protege.
Fair. Okay, I ended up lying, by the way, about you guys not getting to cast until tomorrow, because I think we do have it. He can't
make up his mind.
Yeah, I can't make up my mind right now. It's like when I try to decide something to eat. Do I want a big croissant? Do I want a small croissant? Do I want a baguette? I'm still debating on which one I actually want. I think we should make him cast.
I mean, if we have the time, they look ready to me.
I'm always ready.
Oh,
always ready.
Okay, all right, Levin, give us this one in a squeaky voice.
Salco drops down, Chinese best step, finds the angle. Oh my goodness, Salco with the knock. I mean, we've seen him do it time and time again. He carries Vaxity, he carries his team whenever the moment requires. What a player Salco is.
You want to be me so bad.
That's my best Taco impression, actually.
I can already tell. From the way that you opened up, I was just like, yeah.
I can't believe your voice even got that.
I mean, you wouldn't expect it, do you know what I'm saying? But, you know, sometimes you like that. I like the variance there, you know, catch people off guard.
Stop trying to give me the mic.
Well, are there more instructions?
Yes. All right, Taco, this one, I want you to cast it like it's a human, like a natural animal documentary or something along those lines.
Clearly, Sky and Scroll, ambitious, lurking, hijacking. This lower layer, they are really piecing up their own box control, but no one would ever. They are really bad.
That's my.
Sky and yeah, really lobby up.
Yeah, no, they really gave me all the action for that one. I mean,
no, honestly, like it was like the whisper intensity.
Yeah.
You were selling that for me.
David Attenborough would be proud.
Yeah.
He'd be very proud of that one.
That's exactly who I was thinking of, and I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, it might have been that clip where he actually ended up hiding from Geeky. So if we would have played that clip even longer, I think it would have it worked out perfectly. But now, as we're gonna be heading, honestly, let's start talking a little bit more now about the 5 matches coming up, right? as we're going to be heading over to those next 5 matches, which is one team, Levin, that kind of comes to your mind, whether they're doing good, whether they're doing bad, or maybe they're middle of the pack, that you want to see something change coming up or stay the same?
I really want to see a lot more from Koyota and Rise. I feel like they've been impressive today. I feel like they have shown the talent that I think we've seen out of them over the years, right? When people are calling you the Asian Peterbot, it's not for no reason, right? They clearly see something in you that is special, it's exceptional. We haven't quite seen that, I think, a lot at some of the lands we've had in Battle Royale. Here in Reload, I think we've seen a lot more from them just already today. You know, I think it was last game or the game before, they were up on height and you're sort of looking at them and they're like, they look as good as anybody in this lobby when they're in those positions. I actually spoke to the both of them today. Koyota, his English isn't as good as Rice, so it was mainly Rice sort of giving me the deets, the insight. And he was like, yeah, man, I think today should be easy for us, you know? I think we should have a good time. I said, are you contested? Are things looking good? He was like, yeah, we're contested. It should be easy. And I'm like, easy? He's like, yeah, easy. And I'm like, all right. And I think from a lot of what we've seen in these games, it actually has looked pretty easy. So I want to see a lot more from that.
No, they've definitely been doing a phenomenal job because Koyota and Yuma have just been really capturing a lot of that international presence. And it's interesting, too, to see Minipio and Fukun, some of their old comrades, but not necessarily the official representatives, also doing their thing. It's been an interesting dynamic between the two teams because where we were initially seeing a lot of that upswing out of the actual Zeta representatives, now Minipio and Fukun, they've kind of picked up the torch here, approaching that halfway point.
You thought...
Y'all got this far on guts and heart. Sit tight, or I will rip them both clean out of you. The air carries the stench of old battle, and one that now awaits our victory. got all the comforts of home up there. Enjoy watching your degenerate universe get erased. The air carries the stench of old battles, and one that now awaits our victory. The recipient rarely appreciates.
We can help you, but you need to be patient. We're sinking.
If our fortunes rest in their hands, patience must rest in ours.
Find the warden. Stop him before he unravels everything.
I have stood on battlefields soaked in the blood of my brothers, yet this wooden prison humbles me.
You took so long. I almost forgot. Let's get you out of there. Better shake a leg. One portal coming up.
Some fight in them. Skin them alive. Your daddy should have beat that stubborn streak out of you. I feel Nixara's rage. This place of power must be cleansed of her corrupted Tatsu image. Variety would be nice. Fires of progress burn brightest. This is what you get for pissing me off. out the eyes of my enemy. A new toy. Won't help none.
The entity called you.
I will erase our disgrace. I will remake the world.
Where there's no path, I cut my own. You are much more charming as a ball of light. Decoy throw! A great sadness hangs over this place. Reeks of loss, neglect, and betrayal. The gods have abandoned this realm, if indeed they were ever here. This constellation is Homo. I'd hope to never see that Leviathan's face looming over me again. Every strike has a purpose.
I'm telling you, this ain't... kill.
You'll hurt yourself in ways I can't fix.
Don't you tell me what of loss and embrace what I've gained. I am restored, vindicated, and free of the path of sorrows. I am myself again.
I'm gonna use every last drop of you to cleanse everything you hold dear.
The natural world is full of predators. I am one of them. Clean, precise, that's it.
Max ammo.
Skill does not impact my enjoyment. Even born from decay, loyalty is still loyalty. Nexarsa, I appreciate your silence. Romeo showed me no such courtesy. monsters even heard that coming. Semtex out! Using decoy. Sending Semtex! Tossing decoy! Double points! We ought to be working together. Know this. I hate you.
If you're lucky, you'll live to see the rise of what always should have been. Max ammo.
Not traditional, but effective.
Bonus points. Insta-kill.
I vote we continue the mindless slaughter. Who is with me?
double points.
My father's castle did not fall into the dark ether, did it? That was a facsimile birthed from my mind.
Indeed it was. When the warden drained you, your essence fell to me. From that, it was created.
Disturbing these threads will likely attract attention. Do you not enjoy that bring the pain?